close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways.
The lights begin to come on here in Paul Ricard. And there's already an issue, a yellow flag halfway down the grid. Long hold for the drivers, but we are now underway, and it looks like Christian Sendel's got a good start once again. And once again, Scars has a really rough getaway off the line. That's already Jan Fehler up into third. Meanwhile, Valu, he's got alongside, and this time he's got past. Valu takes the race lead, but has a big moment on the exit of turn 2, as does his teammate further back. Neon's been able to get through turn 1 and 2 unscathed this time around. And he's up the inside there as Scars, taking the position away from the Red Bull driver. Valu was able to defend from Christian Sendel at the very front. Zola's had a good start. He's managed to pass both Neon and Scars on those soft tires. Yanni Trepkov once again making up positions as he moves from 10th to 7th this time around. And maybe even one more position as he's right on the rear end of Scars, who's weaving down the Mistral Straight, trying to keep the Macedonian at bay. And it looks like he's just about done enough to do so. And in fact, it will be Scars continuing in 6th place, but his teammate Valu has made a great start, and he is up into the lead. And instead, it is Scars who is once again looking at the back of Zola, sending it up the inside of turn 8. He's deep into 9, but he gets the move done. Zola down another position, and Scars gets breathing space between himself and Yanni Trepkov, who's been pestering him lap after lap. Let's look how close all these guys are out there on track right now. Oh, contact! As Yanni Trepkov pulled out at the same time as Riptide, but Riptide's going to get both of them there. Beautiful stuff from the Ferrari. Pulls off the double overtake, just a single overtake for Yanni Trepkov, and Zola loses out 2 positions. Further behind, Peso and Zay are going hammer and tongs as well. Not much further behind is now suddenly at Zay at Zola, or rather Peso at Zola, trying to go around the outside of the flat-out seniors. They bang wheels once again. Outside of turn 11, that's going to be tricky to do as Ollie P picks up a 3-second time penalty. And Zola trying to show the Williams the door there. Peso drives off circuit, but he gets the inside for 12, and that should be that move done and dusted as well. Zola really struggling now. Oh, and off in the background, that's Zay. Disastrous moment there for Zay. He's just about held on to the car, so that's good news for him. Didn't get into the barriers.
But he's held up in traffic, and that's not what you want to be.
Not held up for long, though, up the inside of 11. A2 UK breaks later, though, but he breaks a little bit too late, I think. As now 3 of the race leaders come into the pits. They've decided this is the time. Christian Sendel, Neon, and Scars all into the pit lane. Meanwhile, Valu is desperately trying to get past A2 UK. But in doing so, this is going to compromise this lap that he's on. And this could make all the difference between himself and the guys who have just came into the pits. Still, the battle continues between Valu and A2 UK. And you've got to wonder if it's wise right now for the Finn to be putting this much effort into getting past the Mercedes as quick as possible. He has to wait for the DRS range. He's in there now. He does come out ahead of the guys who were on the medium tyres by a fairly comfortable margin. And once again, A2 UK breaks later, holding him up. You can see Christian Sendel just 2 seconds down the road right now. Surely now, Valu will have it as we head into turn 3. But A2 did not make that easy at all. As he's exiting the pit lane now, Valu's going to go past. Christian Sendel's going to go past. Will Neon and Scars go past? Neon is going to. He's managed to pull off the undercut, but Scars cannot do so. Well, that is Neon, actually. Hold on. Neon is taking a look at the rear end of Christian Sendel, studying it very intently and going around the outside of turn 8. That's the inside for 9. He'll get the better run because he's not on the curving either. And they're going to have a drag race down the second half of the Mistral straight. Looks like Neon had trouble under traction, and that might just give Christian Sendel the opportunity he needs to reinstate himself in 4th. But a big moment of contention there between the two, and it's not over yet because Neon is back up the inside of turn 11. Christian Sendel will not have this all his own way whatsoever. He would not have expected Neon to pull the trigger, and Neon is still trying to go around the outside of 12, but that is almost impossible, and as a result, he will settle back down in 5th. Just about clinging on. Look at Neon. He's deploying some of that bonus battery charge right now. And he's having another look at Christian Sendel around the outside of turn 8. And this time, I think he's got it done. He shuts the door on the exit of 9. Now, it's a drag race between the two of them. Once again, down towards Senior, and Valu will be able to give the slipstream to whichever he would prefer to be behind him. He's actually giving it to Christian Sendel right now. And that means that Christian has it back against Neon through the inside of turn 10. And Valu is still threatening to get involved as well. That Christian just about manages to hold on to P2 in the end, and still Neon cannot find a way through, but he is looking so threatening in 3rd. The race win could well be his if he keeps this up. See maybe a little bit of a gap forming between the first two and then the guys in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There is Scars looking to get around the outside of Jan Thaler, and he manages it. Nicely done from Scars. Can Jan keep his nose in there? Yes, he can. Scars doesn't get the traction he would like on the exit of turn 9. Now, we will continue the battle through to turn 10, as is tradition. And Scars gets back up the inside. Beautifully done by the South African Jan Thaler. Really feeling that lack of battery power there on the second half of the Mistral straight. And as a result, he loses out. Guys are only going to start to get worse and worse as the race goes on, though. Here comes Neon looking for another charge at Christian Sendel, who himself isn't very far behind Valu. Valu holds on. And once again, it's Neon forced to go around the outside of turn 8. And once again, he does get the line into 9. But as was the case before, there's Christian Sendel getting straight back past him on the run down towards turn 10. The battle will continue, as we can see from the rear wing there of Valu. Christian just about shutting the door on Neon. Maybe Neon can look up the inside there. There's contact between the two of them, and Neon just holds on to it. Looks good here for Christian Sendel. He's closer. He's closing, and he's alongside, and he's passed already. Before they even get into the braking zone, Christian Sendel does it in the end on lap 26 of 27. Back in the 3rd round of this season. He'll be wanting to do better than that here today, as now Jan Thaler driving clean through Scars there. Ghosting going on between the two. Not sure what exactly is happening there. As Scars disconnects from the session or something, or is there just lag going on? And it looks like it was just some lag, as Scars is now once again ahead of Jan Thaler. That was a rather weird moment between the two of them.
He doesn't want to be losing out Neon, but Neon's got a very good exit on the second part of the Missile Straight. Can he try to get him around the outside of Cygnus? Does he have better traction? He might. He has.
Clean around the outside in the end from Neon. He makes it work, and Valu, that's got to be a real sucker punch to the gut. He lasted so long in the race lead, and then in the last 2 laps, he loses the 2 positions down into 3rd. This would still be his first podium of the season, and far be it from Scars to deny him, I imagine, as his stand-in teammate for the day. But there's Christian Sendel rounding the final corner. You can see a bit more frenetic battling going on behind. Christian Sendel will cross the line to win in France after he took Valu on the penultimate lap. Neon gets second in his debut race in Premier X. And Valu finally manages his first podium of the season in 3rd.
Yeah, further back, you have to wait 12 seconds for Riptide to cross the line. He'll lose that one out to Peso. And Zay and Riptide, the Ferrari drivers, P7 and P8. Zola will drop a lot because of those penalties. He will get that FedEx time penalty. He might have to share that one, actually, with one of the other drivers of Ricardo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Formula X Racing's Premier X Season 3, Round 9 for the Italian Grand Prix. My name, as always, is Jacob Hancox, also known as Aladar, and joining me today isn't Milky Cereal. He cannot make it today, so in his place we have the illustrious Tom Dillon, who has been covering the Division 1 commentary for the last few races. How are you doing, Tom?
Oh, okay, thank you. How are you? Happy to be here on PX Day, and should be a good race, actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Monza is a track that I think always throws up some interesting racing. Sometimes it gets a bit DRS trainy, but there is always the possibility of overtakes. And usually in the last 5 laps or so, it does get really, really exciting. A safety car, of course, brings out that even more so. And we'll have to wait and see whether we get anything like that. But for now, we take a look at the results from last week's race back for the French Grand Prix. And as you can see, it was basically one of our first properly clean races of the season. And the top 5, there was a titanic battle for the podium positions and the win between those top 5 drivers. In the end, it was Christian Sendel who extended his championship lead at the top by taking the victory. Neon came close. Valu almost held on for ages on some very, very aged tires indeed, and managed Red Bull's best result of the season by quite a way, alongside new Red Bull driver Scars, the South African managing 4th, just behind Valu. Jan Fehler there in 5th. He'll be slightly disappointed with that, considering he's in a direct battle with Christian Sendel in the championship pace. So always there or thereabouts in 6th, not really on the pace of the front 5, but in general, a solid race from him. The Ferraris, fantastic performance in 7th and 8th. And they are bookended by the other Williams there of Sandro, who gets his second best result of the season after his best qualifying of the season in France. Zola matches his best result of the season with his third 10th place so far in Premier X, and he qualified 6th as well, so he's been on a bit of an upturn lately. Jami, in their first race, managed P11, Jane Tripkov P12, Labrax 13th, and then you got the two AlphaTauris, Oli P. Calvin, and then KX Ricardo 16th, Marancello 17th, and the two Mercedes, one of whom was A2 UK, subbing in as a reserve driver. They round out the field. So that is how it looked at the end of the last race, and let's see what that's then done to the championship standings themselves. And as you can see, it's Christian Sendel leaping clear at the top, 290 compared to the 235 of Jan Fehler. That is quite a margin. Now, at this late stage of the season, Christian Sendel just needs a couple more good results and he'll have it all wrapped up. So Jan really, really needs to bring his A game here today in Italy. Then you got Peso, who's actually managed to be in 3rd due to just very consistent top 10 finishes, lots of point scores. Valu, with his first podium of the season, is now up into 7th, and both the Ferraris still doing very, very well, of course. The Racing Point's having a bit of a late season surge. The team is still 8 in the constructors' standings, but KX Ricardo and Yannick Tripkov are now sitting there in 11th and 12th. And a couple more good point-scoring finishes might see them challenging the likes of Renault and AlphaTauri as we get to the very end of the season. But speaking of the Racing Points, we have a video to show you. And while you don't have Milky Cereal in the commentary box today, you do get to see him in the form of this blindfold challenge video with the one and only Season 1 champion, Jane Tripkov. So enjoy it.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another blindfold challenge. This time I'm joined by Jane Tripkov, our Season 1 champion. And Jane, you're our Season 1 champion, but can you be our blindfold champion?
We'll see. I think I can. I think I have the skill to.
Okay, positive words. I'm guessing you've seen other drivers attempt the blindfold challenge so far.
Yeah, I've actually attempted one myself.
Okay.
My IRL coach for karting told
Right.
me once that I broke the track record, and he told me to try it with a blindfold on, and it didn't last good. I didn't even make the first corner.
Okay, so do you have any tactics, having done a blindfold challenge yourself, having seen other people doing the blindfold challenge? What's your preparation? What's your mentality going into this?
Yeah, the first one is to not listen to anything you say.
Okay, yep, good
Also
strat.
to try and count the time, and also to listen to the game sounds, maybe to see what gear I'm in, etc.
Okay, now, of course, the most entertaining part of the blindfold challenge is not watching you crash into the Armco barriers or listening to me give bad directions. It's actually seeing what kind of blindfold you have in store for us. So, how will you be ensuring to all of the viewers that you are indeed blindfolded?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's visible, but I'm wearing my hoodie on the wrong side. So when I
Okay.
put this in, I literally can't see anything. I can't even breathe, so it will be tough.
Okay, well, that's actually the same strategy Peso did, and Peso is at the top of the times at the moment
Yeah.
with a 3-minute 5.
It
So
inspired me because I didn't have any blindfolds at home.
right. Well, if you're ready, then apply your blindfold. We'll do the blindfold check, and then we are good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yanni,
Just one moment, I have to press like the go to track button.
okay.
I'm already igniting this.
He's just going straight in. Yanni knows what he's doing. Okay, and we're away. So it's straight. Go straight. Okay, right.
Okay.
Right. We're in the
Right.
long right-hander. Okay, straighten up, and left. Hard left. Okay, we need to reverse out. You're in 5th gear at the moment. 1st gear, 3rd, reverse. Yep, good. Okay, and
so
spin it
go
round to the left.
now or not?
Wait, what's that?
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Okay, you need to reverse again. You just gone straight. Okay. Okay, that's good. Now spin it round to the left. Spin it around. Okay, that's okay. Straight and left. 90 degrees left. Okay, yeah, straighten up the car. Keep going. A bit more left. More left. Okay, and now the right. Final corner. Okay, so just turn right. Hard right. More. Keep going right. Right, reverse. This hasn't started well, has it?
No, it looked way easier.
Just keep reversing. We've got a long way to go to get to the track. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually not that long, but yeah. More.
Wait, still reverse?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
keep reversing. Okay, stop. Okay, and forward and 90 degrees right. Okay, oh. Okay, now we're facing the wrong way. So we've got to spin it around again.
Okay, spin it to the left.
Either way, it doesn't matter, because we're facing the wrong direction. Okay,
Is
and
this
do
okay?
that again. And again. Is it okay? Straight and to the right. There's a barrier in front of us, but we want to go to the right. So straight.
Oh, okay.
So go straight for a bit and then right. Okay. Yeah. Keep going. Right. Oops. Reverse. This is really not a good start. We need to reverse.
I really want to pull this off so I can see where I am. But that's
Yeah. Oh,
cheating.
you can't do that. See, Yanni already wants to cheat. What is this? Right. Reverse.
Okay.
Okay. Stop. Right. Spin it to the right. Spin it around to the right. You're in reverse at the moment. Okay. Okay. Straighten up the car. More right. Okay. Right, this is good. Just go straight. We're starting our lap now, so we can't make more mistakes. We're running against the left wall. Okay, bit to the right. Ooh. Right, brake. First corner left. Right, and right. Oh, good
Did I
catch.
see?
Right, straight. Wait, that's left. Bit to the right.
You said
See?
left.
No, I said you're going to the left. Right, left. Left, more left. Oh, okay. Right, straight. We reset to track. Smart. You're in neutral.
Oh, okay. Where do I go now?
We're going down towards turn 3. So a bit to the left. No, that's too much left. Right. Reverse up. You're in second. You need to reverse.
What do I do
Reverse.
now? I'm confused.
You're in first.
Reverse.
Yeah, reverse.
Wait. Am I in reverse gear or do I reverse? I don't get it.
No, you're in first. You need to reverse.
Oh, okay.
The communication has broken down here. Right. Okay, first and to the right. More right. Okay, that's fine. More right. We're turn 3 now. Okay, straight and left. More left.
Why am I hitting the wall?
Okay, slow down and right. Hard right. Keep going right. Okay, straighten up the car. Straight, straight. No, no, right, straight. Okay. Okay, left, 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 left. Okay, straight. Oh, not right, a bit.
Wait. What
Okay,
do I do now?
spin round the car. Spin the car round to the left. You're in fifth
Okay.
gear at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah, that's good. Spin it around. More to the left.
is it okay now?
Spin it round more to the left. Okay, that's good. Okay, forward and right a bit. Okay, this is good. We just power on the straight. I don't think we're going to beat the 3 minutes, I'll be honest with you. Right,
Okay,
get
I'm
ready.
gonna do the ultimate strategy here and just
Okay,
cut
brake,
this-
brake left. Oh, no, he's not listening to us anymore. Iceman's gone rogue. Okay, right. Right, no,
Wait,
not
what?
left, right. You need more
Okay.
speed. Okay, that's fine. Left, 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 left. Okay, yep, we're on the back straight again. Forward, forward, forward. You're going to have to deal with everyone else in Premier X calling you a corner cutting cheat. So, right.
Oh wait, we're. Oh okay. I get
Okay,
where we are.
straight, straight, straight.
Yeah.
Okay, left, 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 left. Okay, reverse.
Wait, what gear am I in?
Neutral. You're in neutral.
Oh okay.
A tip to get into reverse, just downshift a million times. Forward and to the left. Spin it round to the left a bit. Or reverse back, yeah, that works. Okay, straight. Okay, straight and right. More right, more right, more right, more right, more right, more right. Okay, straighten up the car a bit. Okay, and right again. Okay, straighten up the car. Okay, that's fine. Right again. Right, 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 right. Hard right, hard right, hard right, hard right. Okay, that's good. We bounce. Okay, straight. Okay, left, 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 left. Okay, we need to reverse out again. You're in third. Reverse. No. Okay, reverse more, reverse more, reverse more. Okay, forward and left, forward and left. Okay, left, 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 left. More left, keep going. Okay, straight, 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 and right. Okay, spin the car around 180 degrees left. You're in sixth at the moment.
Oh, I'm in sixth. Wait.
Yeah, second now, that's good. Okay. Oh, okay, spin it around to the right now. We did it too much. Okay, no, that didn't spin it around at all. Right, spin it around to the right. Okay, go straight. Just go straight. Straight. Okay, a bit to the right, actually. Okay, good, good, good. Straight. Okay, left, 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 left. Okay, straight. Okay, left, left. And then right. Right, 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 right. Final corner, right, right, right. You might be Ollie. Okay, straight. No, left, 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 left. Too much. Okay, reverse, reverse, reverse. Okay, back it out, back it out. Okay, forward. Forward and a bit to the left. Okay, right, right, hard right, hard right, hard right. Okay, straight. Okay, just go straight in that direction. Straight, and we've completed the lap. Don't lose the rear end!
Did I spin again?
Yeah,
Wait.
just go forward, just go forward. That wasn't my fault,
What
guys.
am I doing one? I
Straight,
can't
just
see.
go straight. We're almost at the line. Just keep going, keep going. Oh, your rear end is so light. And we've done the lap at a 5:38.6.
Wow. Okay, I didn't think it was gonna be this hard.
I'm just going
I
to say,
genuinely thought.
your strategy of not listening to me, I don't know if it worked.
No, no, I decided not to listen to you. Like, what was it before the video? But after the first corner in the outlap, I already knew I didn't have the skill to do this alone. So yeah, I listened to you, but you were kind of late with the inputs, and I also couldn't see, so that didn't help.
The inability to see definitely hinders one's ability to do well at this challenge.
Yeah, my ego was like this high when the video started, but now it's like at this point. I
So
realized I'm not Senna, definitely.
Yanni, how does it feel to have been slower at this than Riptide and Ollie P?
Oh wait, so I didn't beat Ollie at the end.
I don't think you did. I'll have to double check the times, but
Okay, so wait. Did I finish last?
I think so, yes. I think you were slower than me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I can't even blame it.
And
to
I
be
had
at this
Jacob
point.
guiding me as well, and he was useless. Sorry, Jacob.
No, Jacob. I think Jacob is actually quite better than you at guiding, but like, I can't even
Right.
put the whole blame on you because I'm like, what, 2 times slower than Peso. So, yeah, this one's on me.
Well, Yanni, you've been a fantastic sport. You've got Monza coming up next in the FXR Championship. How do you think it's going to go for you?
I honestly don't know. I think the pace is there. The last few races, especially since Monaco, I have regained my confidence. But we'll see. I hope I have good luck because Monza can be quite chaotic. Either way, excited to see what happens.
Well, Yanni, thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck in Monza.
Yeah, cheers for having me.
Hey everyone, welcome back after what certainly it felt like a rather long time from Jarno's perspective, I'm sure. And he was very kind enough to show us every little nook and cranny of Circuit Paul Ricard there in painstaking detail. So why don't we take a look at the circuit we've got in front of us today, the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza in Italy. And Tom, why don't you take us through what you know about this circuit?
So it's a lovely little racetrack, is Monza. The record in real life stands at 121.046. It's an 11-turn circuit, and it's 5.793 kilometres, or 3.5 miles. And we're doing a 27-lap race here today, of course, the qualifying and the race will both be clear in terms of whether the drivers won't have to worry about that famous wet practice. Of course, in the game, the world record stands a little bit lower than the actual lap record. It stands at around 116 last time I checked. So it is round 9 of the championship. And, well, it's really hotting up. It is the business end of the championship, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely getting to the stage where the likes of, well, basically just Jan Fehler needs to pull his finger out and needs to make sure that he can keep Christian Sender within reach, because otherwise Christian is really threatening to run away with it. If Christian has his 5th race win of the season here, he's all but wrapped it up, unfortunately. I mean, it's going to have to take a couple of DNFs at that point for Jan to get back up with him. So Jan needs to make sure that he at least beats his teammate today. And he probably needs to get his own 4th win of the season, if we are being honest. So thinking about the track, back to the track. One thing I love about Monza is you've got at least 3 overtaking opportunities. If someone makes a mistake on the exit of Della Roggia, turn 5, you can even get that sort of 4th semi-overtaking opportunity into turn 6 as well. And yeah, I mean, if you had to pick, where are you making the overtake?
Well, obviously, it's down one of the 2 straights. We've only got 1 DRS zone in modern Formula 1. We used to have 2, of course, back in the early 2010s. But I think it'd be very, very brave to go into turn 6, of course, Lesmo 1. It's a very quick, especially in these cars, high downforce. It's such a quick corner, you really barely brake for it anymore. So an overtake would be brave. We've seen it happen, though. And we've also seen it go wrong. Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon in 2019 springs to mind at that particular corner.
Yes, indeed. Hopefully we won't see any recreations of that sort of thing. And quickly, while we wait to get into qualifying itself, I'm just going to run you guys through exactly. Oh, okay. Apparently, I'm hearing in my ear that qualifying has actually started. And here we have the proof of that very fact into qualifying here. And as usual, we have a few drivers monkeying around with some intermediates and wet tyres just to get some grip down on the circuit without using up any sets of tyres themselves. Worth noting, we have one new face here today, and not really a new face for those of us who followed back in Season 1, but it's the illustrious return of Mahavir Raghunathan, driving for AlphaTauri here today as the reserve driver. He will be alongside Calvin in that team, replacing Ollie P, who could not make it today. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Mahavir can do after all this time. And we also have a couple of drivers who have become full-time drivers. Neon, I believe, is just full out replacing Ace in the Alfa Romeo team. And this is his first start as a full-fledged Alfa Romeo driver after his debut in Premier X last week. Was very impressive indeed.
Yes, of course, and Premier X is a big step. This is, of course, the biggest, the most talented division, I suppose you could say, in the entirety of Formula X racing. And, of course, drivers right now not setting the most amazing lap times on the intermediate tyres, but they have very, very limited tyre sets indeed. So they have to manage them out over the entire race weekend, not just the qualifying sessions. And it makes sense, I suppose, to go out on intermediate tyres if that's what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, someone who hasn't decided to do it is Mahavir Raghunathan himself, and here we are on board with Mahavir as he heads across the line to start his very first flying lap of the first stage of qualifying here. And let's see what it's going to be looking like when he heads down into the braking zone, waiting for just before the 100-meter board to brake, cutting the corner nicely on entry. That is pretty much exactly how you want to drive that, smooth on the exit as well from Mahavir. That'll look pretty good in the first couple of corners. Now through Curva Grande, pretty much just holding the car over to the right-hand side while you pin the throttle to the floor. And then into the next heavy braking zone for De La Roja. Turns 4 and then turn 5. And again, that looked really smooth. It's all about cutting, but not cutting too much. You want to avoid those track extensions and corner cut penalties. But at the same time, to be really quick around here, you do need to be taking a margin off of each individual corner. Lesmo's 1 and 2 looked okay there for Mahavir as he heads towards the end of Sector 2.
Yes, as he heads down to Ascari, the famous old corner, of course, named after the legend himself. It's flicked to 6th gear, and he's just going to keep it steady on the throttle on the exit. He's going to hit that curve. That's quite brave to do. It's not something you'd want to see in the race because it is a very, very easy curve to lose the car on. Plenty of people have done it in the past in other leagues, and down into Parabolica, 6th gear again. You can really run the higher gears in these cars as he heads down to get the shortest run to the line. He's going to set a banker lap, and we're going to see what it is. Well, he does go fastest, and I don't think it's going to be particularly impressive to get him through into qualifying 2. But, of course, I think he'll be happy with that as a banker.
Is that Conradi driving backwards I'm seeing there? So I'm not sure what exactly that is about. Conradi driving backwards and phasing through the world. Okay. Conradi, interesting. We'll have to work out what exactly was going on there. So I think we've just witnessed some sort of horrible glitch in the Matrix. But Mahavir with a 1:19.0 to start off proceedings. No one else having set a lap time on a dry set of tyres at this stage. And we'll see how well that will go for him. Of course, the vote just came through in chat whether you think Mahavir can make it through into Q2 or not. 4 people said yes, 4 people said no, but those who said no put an awful lot more channel points on the line for it. So we'll have to wait and see who is going to be correct on that one. Another quick note here is Italian Marin. That is Marincello for the Haas team. He's just renamed himself to Italian Marin, but it's similar enough to the old name that you can still get the idea of exactly who that is. And with corner cuts being a distinct possibility here in Italy, it's possible that getting a lap time on the board on intermediate tyres will actually be a really useful thing to do, because it might be the case that a couple of people are not going to be able to set lap times in this session if they keep invalidating. And as a result, your 1:28.6 that Marincello's got, for instance, might be enough to get you into 18th rather than 20th.
And of course, turn 4 and 5 is a hotspot for corner cuts, as the drivers really need to use the curbs on the inside of both of the corners in that chicane, and the track limits are extra strict there. And this is what racing is all about, pushing the limits of the rulebook to its complete extremity, as you can see a driver proving that there. And of course, it also comes to mind 6 and 7, both Lesmos. If you run a little bit too wide on the exit and you get onto the AstroTurf too much, it will also invalidate your lap. So it's a fine line that these drivers have to tread, and I think you're definitely right. I think we could see some drivers struggling to get lap times on the board.
Yeah, Mahavir actually went for a second lap, it looks like, and managed a 1:18.9, so fractional improvement on the second run on the same set of tyres for Mahavir Raghunathan, who now is just slowing down, and either on a in-lap, I imagine he must be on an in-lap, he might actually be out of fuel, judging by the pace he's going here, and the red fuel lights, so Mahavir is going to be heading back into the pit lane, getting some more fuel in the car, maybe getting some fresh tyres on, and then going back out. It looks like Zola might be on a flying lap on a set of soft tyres, so maybe the Italian is going to join Mahavir in the ranks of those who have actually set real lap times with only 10 minutes left in qualifying.
Of course, 10 minutes left is an age in qualifying one. A lot of the teams who think they have the pace won't bother setting a lap time to the very end. It's a needless risk. They'll see it, especially the McLarens, perhaps, who are right at the top of the standings. They'll think we'll just let everyone rubber in the track, and then we won't take the risks of getting penalties and things like that. We'll just sit back and wait for everyone else to do the hard work. And you expect to see them towards the end of the session. He's invalidated, has Zola.
Here's Yanni Tripkov then instead. Let's take a look at him and see if he can manage this one a little bit better than he managed Paul Ricard while blindfolded. It looks okay so far as he's getting towards the end of Sector 1. And it's a 26-0 through Sector 1. We'll see just how competitive that's going to be once a few more lap times come in. But he looked fairly committed through De La Rogia there. Now Lesmo 1. Not quite making the apex. The car just understeering a little bit wide, but still, I don't think he would have lost too much time. Again, a tiny bit wide, perhaps through Lesmo 2 as well. Could have maybe afforded to take a little bit more speed there if he'd got a bit of an earlier turn in. Down the hill, under the bridge, and back up the hill again into Ascari. And, playing with fire with the cut, and on the exit, he does indeed cut the track. And that will be the invalidation for Yanni Tripkov as well as Zola.
It's definitely harsh from the game there. You have to feel when they're getting oversteer. There's not really much they can do. But I suppose the white line is an objective thing. This is one of the McLarens. And he's going to be going out for it. He's on a flying lap. That was a perfect way to take the chicane heading down into Lesmo's 1. Once again, 5th gear. He might flick it to 6th on the exit. He opts not to. And he's just going to opt to use 5th gear in the second. Lesmo takes it exactly the same. And, well, I think this is definitely going to be a lap that gets him into qualifying 2.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine that Jan Thaler is the sort of guy who will be able to bang in that lap time nice and early. And it's interesting, just like in France, we see him going out a little bit earlier than his teammate in this first stage of qualifying. A lot of drivers will leave it to the very end, sort of being brave, making a bit of a statement perhaps, waiting for the track to get into its best sort of situation. Jan Thaler doesn't necessarily wait all that time because you never know what's going to happen with invalidations and so on, as he sets a 1:18.2, moves him ahead of both Zola and Marankello, who themselves have elevated themselves above Mahavir Raghunathan's time. So if the 4 lap times, properly set lap times, it's Jan Thaler, Zola, Marankello, and Mahavir. But now let's see what Sync Calvin is going to be able to do. One of the new full-time drivers in the league, driving for AlphaTauri. He had his first full-time performance last time out in France, where he managed 15th only come the checkered flag, but he was 8th in qualifying, so he definitely has some solid pace. And of course, earlier in the season, he did manage a second-place finish, so he's no stranger to the podium. Let's see how this first lap time is going to look for Calvin as he crosses the line, and wow, okay, into the 1:17s. That's about 0.3 of a second clear of Jan Thaler.
And this is where we'll see the lap times start to plummet, and I have to feel that perhaps Jan is going to just be relaying that information on how the track feels to his teammate. That being Sync Christian, who I think is actually out on a lap now, so it's clearly been a good enough track for the McLaren guys to kind of get them both out there. This is the Ferrari of Riptide going for a lap, and well, they are falling, so you have to feel it'll be up towards the top of the timesheets if that trend continues. Heading through Parabolic, and now brakes just at the white line that goes across the circuit, up to 6th gear. Once again, you can really, it's really dependent on exit speed, is this track Monza, as you've got such a long straight, 330 kilometers per hour heading down that straight, and that's just the start of 8th gear as he crosses the line and he goes P7.
Yeah, P7, not the best lap time from Riptide there, a 1:19.0. It's behind the likes of the 2 Haas drivers and Mahavir Raghunathan, so Riptide will want to improve on that as Valu goes to the top with a 1:17.884. Once again, we're seeing the field spread isn't exactly huge around here. The slowest dry tyre time is only about 1.3 seconds slower than the fastest at the moment. It's KX Ricardo who has the slowest with a 1:19.143. Lambrax just popped up into P4. Peso's currently sitting 5th ahead of the 2 Haas cars. And Scars crossed the line that had invalidated. So this is a second run in a row for the second Red Bull driver as he breaks into turn 1.
And yes, a little bit of a lock-up heading through turn 1. And, well, using a lot of short shifting. Of course, as we said, the differential will be right down to 50%. They need all the exit speed they can get, can these drivers. Monza's one of those tracks where I think it was James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer, said that you just have to focus on exit speed. You can afford to lose a little bit of entry speed as long as you get that exit speed, because it's just the nature of this circuit. Of course, it was actually used as an oval, an alternate layout of this circuit back in the 1950s. IndyCar ran it for a few years, which just shows the temple of speed really living up to its name. And well, we speeds up with us at 340 kilometers per hour. You can see why.
Yeah, and even without that oval configuration, it's still, I'm pretty sure it's still the fastest average lap speeds, average speed lap circuit in the F1 calendar. I'll work out how to say that one of these days, as Calvin has now retired, with Christian having gone into third there. So Calvin thinks that 117.9 will see him through into the second stage of qualifying, and I happen to agree with him. Scars moves up into fifth. So once again, the two Red Bulls are up there with the two McLarens as well, but Calvin also getting to be a part of that party at the moment.
Yes, and out of the session, he clearly thinks that that is a good enough lap time from him, 117.9. I think the McLarens will have something to say about that, but I think you only need to be faster than about 5 people in this particular session. And I suppose the kind of top 5 will be safe from that. It would take a miracle for everyone to go faster than them at this stage. They're on board with the Renault. He needs to get a move on, really. He's only set a banker lap on intermediate. He's got 3 minutes to get a proper top 15 lap time in. And pressure starting to ramp up little by little as he avoids the racing point on the grass there.
Yeah, just snagging a sneaky bit of slipstream from KX Ricardo, who himself is currently sitting 8th in the order. And he'll be relatively happy with that one, to be honest. Riptide, Lars Algera are the two drivers who have set dry tyre lap times and are currently in the drop zone. Cameron Cooper, Mahavir, and Italian Marin, aka Marincello, are the drivers who might be a little bit concerned about their current standing. Let's see if Luka Witovic can make them even more concerned, and no, he cannot, as he slots himself into 17th only between Riptide and Lars Algera. So at the moment, it's Riptide, Luka, and Lars who are under significant pressure with only about 3 minutes remaining in qualifying. Jano Trepkov heading back into the pits, currently sitting in P10. He sorted out his qualifying woes that he was having earlier in the season a fair amount by now. He's not really dropping out of qualifying at the first hurdle every time like he was earlier on. So, yeah, and once again, a relatively solid performance from him so far. Currently good enough for 10th now, Connor Eddy. He is on a flying lap, and he'll be hoping for something big. Hasn't managed a finish at either of the last 2 races. In fact, he hasn't managed to finish at any of the last 3 races. 2 DNFs and then a DNS the last time out for the Mercedes driver. And as a result, he's fallen well down in the championship standings to 14th. And evidently, he's not happy with this lap either, and he's heading straight back into the pits, currently still sitting only 20th. And he is under some pressure, as is Neon, but we know he has the pace to elevate himself out of this.
Well, he's going to have to get a move on with 2 minutes to go in the session. This is make or break. He's not going to be able to have time for another lap after this unless he goes back-to-back on softs, which would be a massive, tall order. These drivers are on such a knife edge with these cars, as Connor Eddy seems to have set gone 10th fastest with a 11th fastest now. And, well, Neon is the only driver who has not set an actual time so far in this session. He's going to have to get a move on, as we said, as he heads through Sector 2. He seems to be nice and clean, struggling with a little bit more of understeer than some of the top drivers we've seen earlier today. And, well, I think he's not quite in control of the car to its full extent. But this is the kind of time when you want to be having these issues. As long as you can get through to Q2, you can kind of use it as a session to get out those little niggles from your setup. He's got a handy little bit of slipstream from his teammates, actually. That's incredible strategy work from the Alfa Romeo as he heads down into Parabolica. Perhaps that's given him the 10th or so that he needs. He uses a little bit of grass on the entry of the corner. Heading down, shortest run to the line again. You can really run quite close to this pit wall. And you're going to P4. It was a little bit difficult there for Neon, but he's managed to solidify his place in qualifying too.
Yeah, very strong lap time in the end, and definitely helped out by a bit of a slipstream from Lars Algera, his new teammate. And we'll see if he's going to repay the favor. It does look like it right now, as actually it'll be through Curva Grande that Lars is going to get his return end of the tow. And Lars needs it because he's currently 3/10 adrift at the very bottom of the order. So he needs to make sure this is a good lap time, does the Canadian, as he goes through Sector 1 and now into the second sector of the lap. It's worth noting that we are desynchronized from Conneretti, so that is why we saw him coming into the pits, and then he set a lap time. So unfortunately, we're not going to see anything reliable from Conneretti, at least in this part of qualifying. Hopefully, that will sort itself out as we go on. Zola's just crossed the line, and he will not be able to improve any further by the look of things, so he's currently down in 11th, but that should be good enough for him for the time being. Mahavir just crossed the line and didn't improve. And him, Cameron Cooper, Riptide, Luka Wicevic, and Lars Algera are the drivers in trouble who need to sort something out. And let's see if Lars Algera is going to be the first one of them to sort something out. It's Marin Kello who sits on the cusp of the drop zone right now. Lars crosses the line and only goes 16th. Not quite able to displace Marin Kello, who himself improves by about 1/10 of a second and moves up into a comfortable 11th. That puts Zay on the bubble in his team's home race. And with Riptide, who is going to retire from the session by the look of things. So Riptide is done there, down in 19th. That is disappointing for the Swede, who's managed 11th in both of the last two qualifying sessions. Jane Tripkov's in a little bit of trouble here, but he is improving as he exits the second sector. He's about half a tenth up on where he was before. And it seems like several other drivers are coming across the line and failing to improve on their lap times. Cameron Cooper is done and dusted in 18th. And let's see, I think Luka Wicevic is still out there. Same for Mahavir, same for Lars. And we'll see if they're going to be able to improve. Jane Tripkov, though, will want to make doubly sure that he's going to be safe as he exits Parabolica and crosses the line. And he improves ahead of Conneretti. Only one position, but that should be enough for the Macedonian.
As here's the Renault going for a last grasp attempt. We saw Luka had enough time to set this final lap. Now he's going to try and see what he can do. He's 20th, and he's going to need a bit of a miracle, about 5/10 to solidify his place into Q2. He's heading down to Parabolica, one of those difficult corners on the track. It's just so slow and you can't quite get the power down. He's managed to do it quite nicely. He's oversteered out of the apex of the out of the apex of the corner. He heads down, runs it all the way close as he can, and he's not able to improve. Well, he is able to improve, but he's not able to improve enough, which is the crucial thing for the Renault driver.
With that, we have our 5 dropping out, and it's 2 Ferraris and 2 Mercedes. Conneretti not making it through in the end. Zay, who has been on such an improvement in this season, failing at the first hurdle here. And Luka Wicevic, Cameron Cooper, and Riptide all getting knocked out. Riptide at the back of the grid. That's going to be disappointing for the Swede, who currently sits 6th in the championship. Jane Tripkov got through by the skin of his teeth in the end. And of course, Mahavir managed to get a 1:18.6 in at the death and manages to progress through with an 11th place finish in Q1 ahead of both Racing Points and Haas's. So that's very encouraging, actually, from the Indian.
Yes, and of course, bitter disappointment from the drivers who have gone out in this session, but the McLarens looking strong as ever. They'll be happy with their pace early on in the qualifying session. Of course, it's not a real gauge of where people will be as we head into qualifying 2 and qualifying 3, but the big news from the PX chat on Discord is that Connor Eddy is in jeopardy in terms of whether he'll be able to race. He's got internet issues, and well, he's trying to fix them. He's got about 40 minutes to do so before we get green flag running here. But I suppose it's one of the only time that going out in qualifying 1 has benefited a driver.
Yes, and at least he managed to snipe it, so he got the best possible result while still going out in that 16th position. But yeah, I think we saw that lag that he was experiencing firsthand as we saw him drive backwards down the main straight before descending down through the earth. So yeah, Connor Eddy will be sorting that out, and hopefully he will be A-OK once we get onto the grid itself, because it can be dangerous having a car lagging that badly. And congratulations to those who voted yes on Mahavir progressing into the second part of qualifying. You should be receiving your channel points any moment now. And commiserations to those who didn't have faith in our returning Season 1 contender, Mahavir Regunathan. But now we are into Q2, and it's Valu and Calvin, 2 of the fastest guys in that first section of qualifying, who are straight back out on track for their outlaps.
Oh, getting a move on, that's for sure. The downside of qualifying 2 is that the tyres you set your best lap on are the tyres that you'll be starting the race on, which probably brings me to talk about pit stop strategy. It appears it's going to be a pretty simple soft to medium strategy. The pit window opens on lap 9 or so. We could see drivers coming in on lap 8 and kind of nursing tyres towards the end. So it does appear that most drivers will be running on softs throughout this qualifying session. And, well, it would be interesting to see if anyone takes the gamble and does the alternate strategy. I always say that you want to be on the worst tyre whilst you're in the traffic so you can kind of keep the DRS train and gain back some of that delta that you'd lose from just being on the worst compounded tyre. But I suppose many people would disagree with me there and just go for the simple soft to medium.
But at this circuit, to be fair, the DRS train is a very, very strong factor. It's probably the strongest DRS train circuit on the entire calendar. So there is a lot of merit to running on medium tires at the start and just not losing much time, because the DRS will pull you so much along. As long as you can make sure that after those first 3 laps you're still within that 1 second margin, that's basically all you need to do to make your medium tire stint work for you. And then you can enjoy all the softs once the field is a bit more strung out after the pit stops later on. But of course, that the alternate strategy, it always depends. Will there be a safety car, a virtual safety car? It's so hard to predict which strategy is going to be favorable. The starting on mediums might give you more options, and it'll be interesting to see what these guys who have gone out early on softs are going to do. Because a lot of the time we see drivers slowing down before the line with their first soft tyre runs, or intentionally invalidating their laps so that they get a delta for the medium tyres without actually setting a lap time on the softs. It might just be slower banker laps on these soft tyres as well. That's always a possibility. Calvin seems to be pushing relatively hard, though, as he has a major moment on the exit of Ascari and does invalidate, but that was definitely not intentional from the AlphaTauri driver. And Valu, maybe that was intentional, as he cut heavily on the entry to Ascari.
And we also said that the pit window for the safety car, if they want to do a 2-stop, is about lap 18, when they can safely get to the end on soft tyres. So, of course, if you run on the medium tyres, you're risking being in the wrong place at the wrong time if we do get a late safety car. But I don't know, you could argue that maybe track position is better, as this is the Alfa Romeo of Ragunathan, going purple in the second sector. I suppose no one says a time yet, so it's a little bit misleading as he heads down to the final corner now. And we'll see what he can do. We have a good idea from qualifying what a competitive lap time will be. I have it at about 1:17.8. Will probably get you through quite safely.
1:18.8, maybe less safe then for Mahavira Gunnathan. Sandra Van Sand only managed a 1:19.3. He'll be rather disappointed with that, but again, he might be thinking about going back out on a set of medium tyres. We'll have to wait and see. KX Ricardo is out there pushing. He's also on softs. The Hong Kong driver in the racing point, heading down the hill and back up it towards Ascari. He's got to be so committed through here. And it looks like he is to a reasonable degree on the exit. Smooth, no trouble. Car not kicking out at him at all as he heads towards Parabolica.
And yes, I mean, he looks very stable actually, does the racing point, as you mentioned. And Monza's one of those tracks where you can kind of afford a little bit of oversteer through the corner as long as your exit speed is good. It's probably one of the reasons that Kimi Raikkonen goes pretty well around this track, as he can kind of get the car straightened up on exit, as it is a purple lap for the driver from Hong Kong. And I don't think he'll be quite safe though. We'll have to see what happens when some of your more traditional front runners like the McLarens come out for their qualifying 2 runs.
Getting noticed in the chat there from Zay that there might be a possible restart to this, as there are some desynchronizations going on between the drivers in the field. We noticed that with Conor Eddy at the beginning. Yeah, it seems like there are some other issues as on the side. In fact, yeah, that's a great point. On the side, I'm noticing that it's not the same list of drivers that have made it through here to Q2 that should have made it through. I'm seeing no Zola, for instance, who definitely made it through. So yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll see what exactly is going to happen with that situation. And we can only apologize for the issues that we are currently having here, of course. It's definitely something on the game side rather than on our side, so not much we can do about that. Yes.
If you don't mind me saying, the protocol, if we were to, have to restart this lobby for the various issues that a few drivers are experiencing, then it would be a full qualifying format once again, if I'm aware. Sam has said in this situation it's my call, but I would like to bring it here first as it's 18 minutes done, and well, he'd keep it in full quality. Restarting full quality, it's been confirmed now.
Yeah, so we will restart full quali, and everyone who struggled in Q1 will get a second chance at it. But yeah, for now, seeing as we know that this qualifying session is now null and void, we will throw to a break real quick. And once we're back in for the next qualifying lobby, we'll be back with you. So stay tuned.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on
Invincible.
close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. On we'll go, finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest, echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on
Invincible.
till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go,
Invincible.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for the rather major delay here. There have been some issues with the lobby for multiple reasons and with Steam as well. So what's going to happen is we are going to be going live. The qualifying and the race will still be going ahead. There'll be a short qualifying instead of the full qualifying session. And that will start in about 10 minutes' time at 8 UK time. And while we wait for that, we're just going to show you the highlights from last weekend's race at France. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes, and thank you all very much for your patience. To come on here in Paul Ricard. There's already an issue, a yellow flag halfway down the grid. Long hold for the drivers, but we are now underway, and it looks like Christian Sendel's got a good start once again. And once again, Scars has a really rough getaway off the line. That's already Jan Thaler up into third. Meanwhile, Valu, he's got alongside, and this time he's got past. Valu takes the race lead, but has a big moment on the exit of turn 2, as does his teammate further back. Neon's been able to get through turn 1 and 2 unscathed this time around. and he's up the inside there as Scars, taking the position away from the Red Bull driver. Valu was able to defend from Christian Sendel at the very front. Zola's had a good start. He's managed to pass both Neon and Scars on those soft tires. Yanni Trepkov once again making up positions as he moves from 10th to 7th this time around, and maybe even one more position as he's right on the rear end of Scars, who's weaving down the Mistral Straight, trying to keep the Macedonian at bay, and it looks like he's just about done enough to do so. And in fact, it will be Scars continuing in 6th place, but his teammate Valu has made a great start, and he is up into the lead. And instead, it is Scars who is once again looking at the back of Zola, sending it up the inside of turn 8. He's deep into 9, but he gets the move done. Zola down another position, and Scars gets breathing space between himself and Yanni Tripkov, who's been pestering him lap after lap. Let's look how close all these guys are out there on track right now. Oh, contact! As Yanni Tripkov pulled out at the same time as Riptide, but Riptide's going to get both of them there. Beautiful stuff from the Ferrari. Pulls off the double overtake, just a single overtake for Yanni Tripkov, and Zola loses out 2 positions. Further behind, Peso and Zay are going hammer and tongs as well. Not much further behind is now suddenly at Zay at Zola, or rather Peso at Zola, trying to go around the outside of the flat-out seniors. They bang wheels once again outside of turn 11. That's going to be tricky to do as Ollie P picks up a 3-second time penalty. And Zola trying to show the Williams the door there. Peso drives off circuit, but he gets the inside for 12. And that should be that move done and dusted as well. Zola really struggling now. Oh, and off in the background, that's Zay. Disastrous moment there for Zay. He's just about held on to the car, so that's good news for him. Didn't get into the barriers.
But he's held up in traffic, and that's not what you want to be.
Not held up for long, though. Up the inside of 11. A2 UK breaks later, though, but he breaks a little bit too late, I think, as now 3 of the race leaders come into the pits. They've decided this is the time. Christian Sendel, Neon, and Scars all into the pit lane. Meanwhile, Valu is desperately trying to get past A2 UK, but in doing so, this is going to compromise this lap that he's on, and this could make all the difference between himself and the guys who have just came into the pits. Still, the battle continues between Valu and A2 UK, and you've got to wonder if it's wise right now for the Finn to be putting this much effort into getting past the Mercedes as quick as possible. He has to wait for the DRS range. He's in there now. He does come out ahead of the guys who were on the medium tyres by a fairly comfortable margin. And once again, A2 UK breaks later, holding him up. You can see Christian Sendel just 2 seconds down the road right now. Surely now, Valu will have it as we head into turn 3. But A2 did not make that easy at all. As he's exiting the pit lane now, Valu's going to go past. Christian Sendel's going to go past. Will Neon and Scars go past? Neon is going to. He's managed to pull off the undercut, but Scars cannot do so. Well, that is Neon, actually. Hold on. Neon is taking a look at the rear end of Christian Sendel, studying it very intently and going around the outside of turn 8. That's the inside for 9. He'll get the better run because he's not on the curbing either. And they're going to have a drag race down the second half of the Mistral Straight. Looks like Neon had trouble under traction, and that might just give Christian Sendel the opportunity he needs to reinstate himself in 4th. But a big moment of contention there between the two, and it's not over yet because Neon is back up the inside of turn 11. Christian Sendel will not have this all his own way whatsoever. You would not have expected Neon to pull the trigger, and Neon is still trying to go around the outside of 12, but that is almost impossible, and as a result, he will settle back down in 5th. Just about clinging on. Look at Neon. He's deploying some of that bonus battery charge right now. And he's having another look at Christian Sendel around the outside of turn 8. And this time, I think he's got it done. He shuts the door on the exit of 9. Now, it's a drag race between the two of them once again, down towards Senior and Valu. Will be able to give the slipstream to whichever he would prefer to be behind him. He's actually giving it to Christian Sendel right now. And that means that Christian has it back against Neon through the inside of turn 10. And Valu is still threatening to get involved as well. That Christian just about manages to hold on to P2 in the end, and still Neon cannot find a way through, but he is looking so threatening in 3rd. The race win could well be his if he keeps this up. See maybe a little bit of a gap forming between the first two and then the guys in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There is Scars looking to get around the outside of Jan Thaler, and he manages it. Nicely done from Scars. Can Jan keep his nose in there? Yes, he can. Scars doesn't get the traction he would like on the exit of turn 9. Now, we will continue the battle through to turn 10, as is tradition. And Scars gets back up the inside. Beautifully done by the South African Jan Thaler. Really feeling that lack of battery power there on the second half of the Mistral Straight. And as a result, he loses out. Tires are only going to start to get worse and worse as the race goes on, though. Here comes Neon looking for another charge at Christian Sendel, who himself isn't very far behind Valu. Valu holds on, and once again, it's Neon forced to go around the outside of turn 8. And once again, he does get the line into 9. But as was the case before, there's Christian Sendel getting straight back past him on the run down towards turn 10. The battle will continue, as we can see from the rear wing there of Valu. Christian just about shutting the door on Neon. Maybe Neon can look up the inside there. There's contact between the two of them, and Neon just holds on to it. Looks good here for Christian Sendel. He's closer, closer, closer. He's closing, and he's alongside, and he's passed already. Before they even get into the braking zone, Christian Sendel does it in the end on lap 26 of 27, back in the third round of this season. He'll be wanting to do better than that here today, as now Jan Fehler driving clean through Scars there. Ghosting going on between the two. Not sure what exactly is happening there, as Scars disconnects from the session or something, or is there just lag going on? And it looks like it was just some lag, as Scars is now once again ahead of Jan Fehler. That was a rather weird moment between the two of them.
He doesn't want to be losing out Neon, but Neon's got a very good exit on this second part of the missile straight. Can he try to get him around the outside of Cygnus? Does he have better traction? He might. He has.
Clean around the outside in the end from Neon. He makes it work, and Valu, that's got to be a real sucker punch to the gut. He lasted so long in the race lead, and then in the last two laps, he loses the 2 positions down into third. This would still be his first podium of the season, and far be it from Scars to deny him, I imagine, as his stand-in teammate for the day. But there's Christian Sendel rounding the final corner. You can see a bit more frenetic battling going on behind. Christian Sendel will cross the line to win in France after he took Valu on the penultimate lap. Neon gets second in his debut race in Premier X, and Valu finally manages his first podium of the season in third.
Yeah, further back, you have to wait 12 seconds for Riptide to cross the line. He'll lose that one out to Peso. And Zay and Riptide, the Ferrari drivers, P7 and P8. Zola will drop a lot because of those penalties. He will get that FedEx time penalty. He might have to share that one, actually, with one of the other drivers of Ricardo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Believe It or Not qualifying here in Monza. We will finally be getting underway for our short qualifying session. George Russell has become Jan Fehler, which is the last thing I was worried about there, but thankfully that has sorted itself out as well. We have all 20 drivers back in qualifying, and thank you all very much for your patience in sticking along with this. It's been a rather rough time getting this one sorted, but we will be underway in just a few moments when a driver decides to actually leave the pit lane here. But yes, of course, short qualifying rather than full qualifying, because obviously we're running very behind schedule. And we do have a couple of drivers over in the Eastern Hemisphere, and they will definitely be feeling the tiredness just about now. So for their sake, and for a few other people's as well, we're going to have the short qualifying just to get things underway. And it looks like one driver is leaving the pits. It's going to be one of the Williams. Which is it? It is Sandro. So Sandro Van Sand is going to be the first one out.
And it does seem like we're going to have a little bit of a boring qualifying session here, with all the teams, I imagine, opting to run on the soft tyres. Of course, in terms of the rules regarding starting sets and things like that, it's everyone outside of the top 10 gets a free choice of tyres, but the top 10 have to start on their qualifying compound.
Indeed, and it seems like there may be an issue, or I think we are okay. Sorry, there was some reports of potentially another issue, but I think finally that hasn't happened. Okay, yeah. So apparently Sandro wasn't loading in. Now he's loaded in. Now he's back in the pit somehow. It's all okay. Everything has been sorted, and everyone is now leaving the pit lane and getting ready for qualifying. You can see now a gaggle of cars all getting straight out there. I think Valu was the first of those. So one of the guys who's expected to be one of the absolute fastest in this qualifying session is out there first of all, and he will be on a very green circuit to begin with.
And of course, that circuit will rubber in very, very quickly. There's a lot of subtleties to do with this particular circuit. In terms of, some people would argue that short qualifying hasn't got as much grip as the full qualifying formats, which I suppose is natural, and it means that, of course, the drivers are going to have to adjust to the track conditions. And well, this Alpha Tauri looks to be in prime position to get a little bit of slipstream from the Red Bull, and I think there might be a few games played here between these two drivers. Could be interesting to see that play out.
It might be Calvin, yeah, it was Calvin who was just really getting right up behind Valu there, making the Finn realise that he wanted him to get a bit of a wiggle on, and maybe the mind games coming out between the two of them. They should be two contenders for pole position here from what we saw in that brief glimpse of qualifying we had about an hour ago now. And Valu, of course, is someone who is almost always up there at the very top levels of qualifying. Managed second on the grid last time out, and pole position a couple of races before that. And of course, he did get his first podium last time out at France as well. That was a long time coming for our Season 2 champion, who's had flashes of pace all season, but the luck just hasn't fallen his way. But now that he's got that podium in the bag, I'm expecting to see him kick on and really start to improve.
And Valu, of course, having support from Nicholas Longe himself, Alpine F1 Esports driver. So he's definitely very popular amongst the paddock, as he's finally invalidated his lap. So perhaps the popularity carried him over the track limits.
Yeah, you may not know about this, but the invalidation is a bit of a tradition. There's at least one in every qualifying session, and there is our first invalidation of this short qualifying session. Here is Calvin, though, who was out second. He's still pushing, and that's a 51.8 through Sector 2. And if my memory serves correctly, it's going to be headed towards a low 18, but it doesn't really matter because he invalidated on the exit of Ascari, so we'll go on to Neon instead, another potential pole sitter, someone who'll be expecting to be fighting for the front three rows of the grid, and who had a very impressive debut performance last time out in France. Let's see as he heads through Parabolica, holding it over to the right-hand side, shortest run up towards the line itself, and into the 117s comfortably, a 117.755. I think that's faster than anything we saw in our first qualifying session.
Shows perhaps this track is quickly rubbering up. I suppose the kind of formats of it has to be as such, because you can't really spend an hour getting to the optimal conditions. This is the McLaren. Sink Christian, second place in the championship, looking to try and make ground on his teammates. We'll see where he goes. He goes P2. It wasn't quite what he was hoping. We'll see what his teammate has got to say about that as he's heading through Sector 2. He's gone nice and clean through Lesmo 2, heading down to Ascari in the second DRS zone of the circuit. Of course, second of two DRS zones around this Monza Grand Prix circuit. Heading through Ascari, nice and clean 7th gear, and he's going to run all the way down to Parabolic. He's going to get up to 330 kilometers per hour heading down into this fast right-hander. You can always just kind of winds away from you to the Parabolic. It's going to be a bit of a late apex. He's not going to quite get it as he heads down to the line. And he's going to go P4, not quite what you'd expect from the dominant McLaren team so far, but I'm sure he won't mind one bit at this stage in qualifying.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing there for Jan Fehler, who actually gets displaced by Mahavir Raghunathan, moving himself up into 4th. Jan Fehler, I think he's definitely going to need to find some improvement. He might even go again on that same set of tyres, just to get him a bit closer to the ballpark, because 4/10 away from his teammate and championship rival, the man he is chasing in the championship. That is really not where he needs to be right now in this qualifying session. So Jan, the veteran that he is, will know that he can improve and know that he has to improve. Here comes Scars up towards the line for Red Bull. He moves up into 3rd. Still, none of these drivers really getting anywhere near what Neon has been able to do in his first full race for Alfa Romeo. And that is really standing up to scrutiny, is the Dutchman's time. Let's see now, Maranello at his home race, not the team's home race, but the driver's home race, as he heads towards the corner named for Alberto Ascari, 2-time world champion, and he invalidates and loses the car and into the wall. And I think that's that for Maranello. He's out of qualifying.
I've personally had that accident many, many times in the Formula 1 games, and doing it in qualifying is not what you wanted at all. A very violent impact. Thankfully, on the computer game, you can't quite feel that, but that can be bitter disappointment. That means he's going to start in, well, 20th, you'd imagine, as long as Lars can get a lap in. Bitter disappointment from the home driver. This is the Red Bull getting a little bit squirrely through their perfect taking of the chicane. Actually, 5th gear, 6th gear, flicks it down to Lesmo 2. Once again, 5th gear, and then flicks straight up to 6th gear. You really have to, have very good hand muscles to be fast in Formula 1 2020. Short shifting is such a powerful tool at the driver's disposals. Look at how he's invalidated.
Yeah, invalidating once again. And the pressure's going to start to mount as a result of that. He's got 9 minutes left in the qualifying session, plenty of time. But if he keeps invalidating that lap, that's taking out chunks of about 3 minutes at a time at least every lap you invalidate. So you have got to be careful when you count. Of course, that's counting the out lap, the in lap if you want a new set of tyres. Maybe you just go again on the same set of tyres, but then you are compromising the set that you'll be starting the race on, let's not forget. So, you know, you can be pretty nervous at this stage if you're not starting to string that lap together. And it's going to start playing in your mind more and more if you get to that sort of scenario. Riptide is one of those drivers who is yet to set a lap time, was stone dead last in that full started qualifying, didn't make it through Q1. Let's see whether this is going to look any better here in the short qualifying, the revised qualifying for round 9, the Italian Grand Prix. And indeed, that does look a lot healthier from the Swede as he moves up in the 9th.
And the prediction in the Twitch chat is Will Value get pole position. You've got 4 minutes and 20 seconds to get that going. Currently it's going mad is the things, but you can get some channel points there.
Seems
and
like
Nicholas Longay saying it's such an easy yes.
Indeed, Nicholas, apparently Valu's biggest fan. You love to see it. And yeah, I mean, it's honestly, Valu has had such good form in qualifying. It's just the races where he's been falling down lately, but he is a demon quick driver. As long as he can set this lap time, it should be right up there. The trouble is Neon's opening exchange, as Calvin gets very close to it. I was about to say how Neon's opening exchange there is really, really high tier. But Calvin goes and proves that it is potentially beatable, and Valu was slightly ahead of Calvin in that first qualifying session. So it is kind of up in the air right now. Will he get it? Won't he? We'll have to wait and see. He's only one of 3 drivers who are yet to set a lap time, with the exception of Maranello, who, of course, DNF from the session with that impact with the wall. So he will be starting from the very back of the grid. Unfortunate for him, because in the first qualifying session, he made it through Q1. So he will be rather frustrated with the scenario. Sorry about the rev glitch here on Jan Fehler's car, but it is interesting. He was down 2/10 at the end of Sector 1. He's currently only sitting 8th in that McLaren. So we'll have to see. There's another Mercedes off. That's Cameron Cooper, who has also DNF'd from the session. Jan Thaler has invalidated his lap, so we don't need to worry about that car with all its revs any longer, I don't think. But yeah, that's the second driver, Cameron Cooper, who has invalidated, or rather who has crashed out of the session, and that will be him starting no higher than 15.
Bitter disappointment. You never want to crash out of qualifying, and importantly, gives him a breather now, but I don't think that's particularly what you want, as you want to be pretty fresh heading into the race. But he gets to collect his thoughts now at least, and gets a free choice of tyre. And Monza isn't the most difficult track to overtake on, and Toasted Vivid saying, did no one else see the Merc driving backwards? I did, but I assumed he was just kind of slower.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether that's Conor Eddy still being desynchronized or not. I know he was having some internet issues earlier, and there have been some issues with the lobbies, but I think we're just going to have to press on with this one unless there's some real race-ending scenario. Mahadir is currently sitting up in 7th at the moment, still ahead of Jan Thaler. He's out on a fresh set of tyres. He backed out of that last lap, and he's pushing again here. So he's setting up for a second flying lap on this set of tyres. Just about has enough in the ERS, I think, to make it work. And let's see, is this the real Conor Eddy right now, or are we seeing a fraud? I'm not really sure whether this is the real Conor Eddy or not. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And let's see.
It does look peculiar if it was a real-life driver.
Yes, they were pretty peculiar. It might just be the rev glitch sort of scenario, but yeah, the wheel inputs look a bit weird as well. So maybe we'll see. I think Labrax might be on a flying lap currently for the Renault team, and Luca as well. So both Renaults currently out there heading towards Parabolica. Labrax has invalidated, unfortunately, but Luca is still flying straight and true. Unclear if he is in a full flying lap. It doesn't look like it, as he breaks way too early into Parabolica. So it seems like a lot of drivers just out there on outlaps at the moment, backing off, having invalidations, that sort of thing. It's currently Neon from Calvin, from Christian Sendel, and those three are well clear of the rest of the field.
And quick apology for a mistake I made earlier in the stream. It is in fact Christian Sendel leading the championship. I believe I got the two McLarens mixed up. So he is the leading McLaren nonetheless. His teammate in second place in the championship all the way down in 8th, and he's going to have to find, well, at least 6/10 or so to be competitive with his teammate. And look at that gap between the top three. Is that 300ths of a second separating them, pretty much.
Oh, he's done it again. Invalidation for the 3rd time. And now is when it really starts to mount this pressure. 3 minutes and 40 left in the session. Surely he'll have to go again on the same set of tyres. I don't imagine he'll want to go back into the pits and try again. Maybe he will. I don't know. He's not accelerating out here, so I think he's heading to the pit lane.
He's certainly going to have to get a move on his value. And of course, you can predict for a few channel points whether he's going to get pole position or not. It's looking pretty dire for him right now, though crazier things have happened. This is second place in the championship, CRG Jan Thaler, currently down in P10, not exactly up to the lofty heights he's used to, but he's on a flyer, and this could be his last real chance at that pole position, which is currently held by Neon, who's had a very, very early lap time, but also a pretty concrete lap time thus far.
Yeah, 1:18.400 is still the best Jan's been able to do. He hasn't beaten his own previous Sector 1 time, though he did get close to it. Let's see how it looks through the second sector. That looked okay through Lesmo 1 to me, using all the road on the exit as you're supposed to be doing. Decent cut through Lesmo 2, using it on the road on the exit again. So this all looks pretty okay from the German at this stage of the lap. And let's see, maybe the issue was, yeah, you can see he's 4/10 up on that previous attempt through the Lesmos alone, effectively. But he's invalidated the lap. So once again, another mistake. You can tell that first lap contained a major mistake. He has the ability to go at least into the 17s, does Jan Thaler. But he just cannot find that lap right now without getting the invalidation. Same story for Balu. And a lot of drivers seem to be struggling as Calvin goes to the top with a 1:17.6 there. And he displaces Neon for the first time in this session. It is Calvin from Neon, then Christian Sendel and Peso, who isn't too far away either. Scars on a flying lap at the moment, as Conor Eddy is just on an outlap here, I believe. Not quite sure what the situation is with him for now. Yeah, I think we can safely say that there's a desynchronization with Conor Eddy. So hopefully the situation isn't going to be too much of an issue. Scars is out there improving. In fact, improving by a significant amount. But the invalidation, once again, means that he's just going to have to head back into the pits. And I'm not even sure if he has enough time left. We do sometimes see the issue with the qualifying timer not giving us an accurate time, as Ricciardo also decides to make his lap invalid. Let's see if Sandro can hold it together.
Well, with 3 rounds left in the championship after this, it seems to just quickly be falling away from Jan Feiler. A no points finish in this race would be damning for his championship hopes. He's currently only got 235 points compared to his teammates' 290, but this is the Williams getting a little bit swirly on the exit of Lesmo 1, throwing the car into Lesmo's 2, running shorter gears than most of the other drivers today, running 4th rather than the 5th that we've seen has pretty been the status quo so far from the top runners. Heading through Ascari, someone's gone purple in the second sector. I believe that's him. He's clean through Ascari. This could be a mighty, mighty lap from the Williams driver. Heading down to Parabolica, 328 kilometers per hour. Brakes just at the white line, down to 5th gear, 4th gear, flicks it back to 5th, and he's invalidated. No, he hasn't kept it.
He's still going, but unfortunately he lost the car in a major way through Parabolica. He saved it well enough, but a 118.2, that could have been so much more from Sandro Van Sant, and that would have been a real show up there for the Williams driver. He was at least on track for a 118 flat after Sector 2, and that looked like a pretty solid Sector 3 until that moment. So, yeah, that could have been a front couple of rows of the grid, at least for Sandro.
Kudos to him for that impressive save, though that's there is some pretty good car control through that final corner. This is Jan Feller going for his final run.
So at the moment we are, of course, seeing the issue with the timer. The timer is lying to us. Everyone will make these outlaps. You don't need to worry about that. Those still in the pits might not. So Calvin might not be able to actually improve on that time. Kex Ricardo, similar story. Everyone else, I'm pretty sure, is going to be able to make it out for another flying lap, as the session timer is a little bit bugged out there. As let's see, what is Valu doing here? Just setting up on his outlap right now. Can we see Jan Feder again? Because I thought I saw that track flash red for a moment for the German. But no, that's all okay. He is all right. So let's see whether he can finally sort out a decent lap time. He has descended into 12th for the time being with that 118.400. But we know he has a lot more improvement. This time, he's up in Sector 1 as well by a 10th. If he finds another 4 tenths, as he did last time, through the 2 Lesmos and down the hill towards Ascari, then we could well be seeing Jan Fehler getting up to the very top edges of this grid. Both Zola Zola and Jane Trepkov have seen the checkered flag. They will not be able to improve any further. Jane starting no higher than 11th and Zola Zola no higher than 16th. And Jan Fehler is on an absolute flyer out now. He's up 6 tenths. If he finds another 10th and a half in this final sector, that'll be good enough to get him up in the regions of his teammate Christian Sendel, who currently sits in P3. And that has got to be the benchmark for Jan Fehler right now. That's his main contender, his only contender in the championship. And Jan absolutely needs to make sure that this lap is good. It's all looks smooth. Up towards the line for Jan. Is it enough? Yes, it is. Not enough to take pole, but enough to move ahead of Christian Sendel. And that could be what matters most for the German. He finally sorted it all out together. Valu has not invalidated this attempt either, as he's heading up towards the final corner now. His last challenge of this lap. And it looks like that's going to be all smooth and tidy for the Finn. Let's see if he had to safe this lap or whether he's been able to push it flat out. And it's a 1:17.844. No pole position, but that's a decent recovery considering how much pressure he's been under.
So, of course, the challenge in the chat, those who said, yes, he would get pole position, unfortunately mistaken there, but this is Sync Christian trying, well, he's got very oversteery on the exit of Ascari. That's just showing he's on the edge of friction, trying to gun for this pole position. The championship, second place in the championship, I believe. No, he's not, sorry, he is leading the championship. I always get the 2 McLarens confused as he heads down to the line.
It's not enough for Christian Sendel. Still only 3rd. Moves ahead of Neon, who wasn't able to improve on his very first lap in qualifying. Here's KX Ricardo, and he's coming up towards the line. He's going to be the last driver able to set a lap time, I think. Maybe Calvin as well. KX Ricardo goes into 11th. That's a decent showing then from the Hong Kong driver. 1 place behind Mahavir Raghunathan. KX Ricardo will get a free choice of tyres. Calvin doesn't improve, but he doesn't need to, as he's heading back into the pit lane. And with that, I believe we have everything wrapped up here in qualifying. Calvin taking pole position away from either McLaren driver. What a performance that is for Calvin in only his second race as a full-time AlphaTauri driver. And he will be looking to do one better than his season's best finish of the P2 about 3 races ago back in Japan.
And of course, Japan was a pretty entertaining race at that. Down in 10th place, Mahiva Raghunathan just narrowly missing out on the free tyre choice. Some people would argue that they'd rather start 11th and get the free tyre choice than anything else. Of course, he's no stranger to Formula One machinery. In 2016-17, he ran in the Boss GP Championship, which was Formula One machinery there, albeit older spec. But here are your results, and if you'd like to give us an analysis on that, Alistair, that'd be nice.
Indeed. Yep, no worries. 1.5 seconds then separating the entire field, and the slowest time that we saw, unfortunately, was Zay. But Zay, given that it's about 5 a.m. and getting later in Australia, I think you can understand that that might not be the best that Zay would usually have to offer. Both Ferraris low down once again. Conor Eddy was able to actually set a decent lap time this time around, but of course we do have that desynchronization issue with him, so we're not sure whether he's going to be able to take the start of the race or not. And hopefully for his sake he can, and hopefully it's not going to cause any issues for the rest of the drivers. But yeah, Calvin on pole, a bit of a turn up for the books. It's not a Red Bull, it's not a McLaren, and there's only been a couple of times this season that that's happened.
And, well, yes, of course, McLaren really running away with this championship in all of the divisions, of course. The combined championship standings being pretty much McLaren all over. They're leading every championship apart from Division 1, so 2/3 of the championships at that. And if I'm not mistaken, they were leading Division 1 for a while into the season. Of course, if you do want to get involved in this league yourself, you can go to formulaxracing.com.
So apparently there are still some desynchronization issues with the game for a couple of drivers. We will see exactly what the situation is going to be with that one. It seems that Sandro Van Sand has been put into P20 on the grid despite qualifying in 9th, and that would have been one of his better qualifyings of the season as well. And yeah, you can see it there. Sandro has been put to the back of the grid. Everyone else is in the right order. And that is so unfortunate for Sandro, who looks like he's going to have to start on that set of soft tyres that he qualified on as well. And the issues just keep coming with the game, unfortunately. And yeah, that's real rough luck for the Belgian.
So, AOWS predicted pit stop strategy says lap 11 to lap 12 there, but I have it as lap 9 to lap 10. You could be comfortably safe on the medium tyres to the end. Everyone apart from a few people in the midfield running the soft tyres. Of course, that alternate strategy could be interesting, especially if we get a late safety car. We said lap 18 or 20 would be when softs can comfortably make it to the end, especially with a safety car. So if that does come out, expect everyone to pile into the pits. Perhaps apart from a couple of brave people, perhaps the medium runners will be able to go very deep into this race indeed.
Just get these guys around the grid. Looks like Scars has actually made contact with another driver on the formation lap and has thus been disqualified from the formation lap. So he is going to struggle off the line because his tyres will not be where he wants them to be. So maybe watch for one of the Red Bulls getting a bit of a slow getaway. Interesting that KX Ricardo, Cameron Cooper, Zay have all gone for those soft tyres. Despite the fact that they would have been starting outside, or are starting outside the top 10. They had free tyre choice. And, of course, Sandro also starting on those softs, but I think that's because he qualified on his end in P9, and as a result, he's been forced to start on that set of tyres. Just going to quickly check, see if there's any restart going on. It doesn't look like it. Looks like we're just going to have to be progressing with this session. Unfortunately, I don't think there's too much that can be done for Sandro at this stage, given how many other things have gone on tonight already. But as things are, we have the drivers lining up at the front of the grid. Calvin from Jan Fehler, from Christian Sendel, from Neon. And just a few more lining up towards the rear end.
Just poor luck for Sandro. He's going to have a lot to do, but it could give him a good story by the end of this race and perhaps a good few championship points.
Here come the lights then in Monza, finally, with an AlphaTauri on pole. We wait for the lights to go out for the drivers. A long hold this time around, a very long hold indeed. A concerningly long hold for the drivers here.
I haven't seen a hold this long for a very long while, actually.
And we are underway. Okay, so there we go. I was about to say maybe it will be a restart, but we get underway and there's already huge contact in the background. That's one of the Red Bulls. I think that might have been Scars into the side. I mentioned that he was going to struggle on those tires. Luca seems to have been involved, as has Zola, and we have a safety car already, as you can see on that board there. Riptide crashing with Cameron Cooper. He's picked up an issue, and it was Scars off the line with those colder tires. And let me tell you, this race just cannot get started in the right sort of way. Even when the race does start after the longest hold of all time, then this happens and we get a safety car and not racing conditions. Calvin still leading, Jan Fehler still ahead of Christian. So the top six, I believe, have stayed the same. Riptide's falling down the order under safety car conditions. Not sure what's happening there to the Ferrari. And I'm not sure who it was that collected Scars. It might have been Lars Algera. I think it was actually Lars Algera because he's down into 18th. He was starting just behind Scars on the grid. So I think the Canadian will have been the unfortunate bystander in that particular fight.
Very, very interesting start to the race indeed. I think, as you said, the cold tyres just kind of ruined Scars. And there's been a few complaints about the lag of one of the drivers. I think that's Connor Eddy. He's been having trouble, poor guy, all evening, and you have to feel for him. But there's so many hefty time penalties towards the back of the field. That's got to be the biggest starting, and there's into the pits immediately is Calvin.
Oh, and he's picked himself up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It happens so often to these guys, to all drivers in the game. You get these, you just get a bit too excited. You're running in first, you go into the pit lane, you speed into the pit lane. And it's such a shame because we're under safety car conditions. There's no reason not to give yourself that little bit of margin. And the mistake is entirely Calvin's. He does go onto a set of hard tyres, though. Christian Sendel also went in, as did Peso and Valu. So several of the front runners opting to go onto hard tyres and hoping to make the whole race on that set of tyres. Jan Fehler stayed out along with Neon. They are the front runners who decided not to go in that direction. And we'll see if that's going to pay off for them. Sandro, Zay, Zola, Lars Algera, Riptide all into the pit lane as well. And Connor Eddy definitely desynchronized out there, lagging all over the place. So I think we can ignore him on the timing tower.
And I have seen people go the distance at this track on those hard tyres all the way to the end. And of course, if you have a late safety car, that makes it even more likely that you'll pick up some kind of good result there. Jan Fehler right now, though, has one goal, and that one goal is to get 20 seconds ahead. The pit delta here is 26 seconds, in fact, and you need to get 26 seconds ahead of Calvin, who, mind you, is out in traffic and out on the worst tyres in the field. A few people towards the back of the grid have, in fact, gone for the hard tyres. Everyone from 10th down to 16th are running on the hards. So a big job for Jan Fehler, but a job that I'm sure he'll be able to do. There's a reason he's second in the championship.
Indeed, there definitely is. And, if someone can make it work, it's going to be Jan Fehler, and we'll see. He's a canny driver. He knows his way around the F1 games. That much is for certain. The two racing points currently up in third and fourth. They'll be feeling pretty good about that. Looks like Mahathir actually lost a couple of places off the start line, maybe avoiding that incident with Scars and Lars. What's happening there? Valu gaining positions. Valu just went into the pit lane again, and he's retired. So Valu's decided that is enough, and that he will not be making it to the end of this race. So I'm not sure what's happened with Valu there, but he's gone into the pit lane, retired from the race, and that is it from the Finn. So his luck will not just, he seemed to have got his lucky break last time out, finally had a clean race. And now it's all gone wrong once again, and he will not be scoring any points here today.
Race director has ordered Connor Eddy to go into the pits and retire from the race. We're going to have 3 retirements with about 10 metres of racing completed here.
It would seem that way. And in fact, it's actually about 5 seconds of racing because the safety car came out pretty much immediately as well. It's interesting that Lars Algera actually went for mediums rather than hards. Riptide initially went for softs, but I think that's just so he can make a second pit stop onto the hards to serve both of the 5-second time penalties that he picked up at the beginning. That's smart stuff there from the Swede. I don't know if he's going to get back around to the safety car in time.
The safety car should flow up for him. It has to be in the same sector as them at the safety car trigger point.
So hopefully, I mean, I guess that means the safety car will be staying out another lap here, as Conradi suddenly finds his way into third briefly there, but I'm not sure whether we can trust that or not, as is Jan Thaler, who will be leading the way. Zola picks up a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Under the safety car, something tells me that that was not a correct penalty to be given, so hopefully he can get that removed at the end of the race, seeing as he will be going to the end of this race on that set of hard tyres unless something goes wrong for him. But it is something you mentioned earlier, a long time ago now, it feels like, about how, even when you're on the slower compounded tyres, around this circuit, with the fact that it's such a DRS-trained sort of circuit, sometimes you can just stick at the sort of level of pace you need to. You can stick with the rest of the train, because the DRS will just drag you along.
Yes, for sure. And I always said you want to be on the worst compound whilst you're in the traffic, because, of course, you have that DRS and you have the ability to kind of gain back a little bit of delta that you had anyway, especially true on race starts. And it also means that towards the end of the race you can really get the hammer down and push on the new compounded tyres, but everyone's kind of a little bit tired and fatigued from the mental strain it takes with 27 laps of such a difficult racetrack to get right. And someone asked, why did Valu retire? We simply do not know. Perhaps there was some real-life distractions or a technical issue or something like that, as Riptide has caught up to the field now.
Yes, indeed. He's back up there, and so it should be a good outlook from him going forwards. He's got 1 lap extra freshness on his hards compared to everyone else. That's nice, at least. And yeah, fastest safety car any percent. I agree, Fister. That is pretty much correct. Yeah, Milky, hello. You've missed a lot, and you've also missed nothing at the same time. It's been a rather interesting day so far. Both Valu and Scars, both Red Bulls are out. Scars crashed immediately off the start line with Lars Algera, and Valu just decided to call it a day in the pit lane, as they are the only 2 retirees so far. Connor Eddy is still out there, and we'll see what that situation is going to be, as the safety car will be coming in this lap. Jan Thaler will be leading the way from Neon, and then the 2 Racing Points, who may or may not have Connor Eddy in front.
And, well, yes, Connor Eddy has been ordered, as we said, to pull into the pits and retire from the session due to his lag issues that he's been experiencing all the way through this race. But we're not too sure what's going on there, and you can see the train of Formula 1 cars just warming up their tyres, trying to get that final thing, and I imagine Jan is going to go now, perhaps.
Ooh, he's holding them. He's holding them for quite a long time here, is Jan Thaler, still warming the tyres on the exit of Parabolica. This might cause havoc further down the field, but he wants to make sure he's not given enough opportunity for slipstreamers. Now he guns it. Now he goes for it, and Neon is right there with him. So the Dutchman has an opportunity to try and claim the race lead for Alfa Romeo here. He's going to go to the outside of Jan Thaler into the braking zone for turn 1. Jan brakes later and holds the line. He is still up there in first. Luca having a go at Jane Tripkov here as the Renault and Racing Points going side by side, and maybe a bit of wheel banging between them as well. That looks like Ladbrokes is getting shuffled out there behind by Calvin, Mahavir, Cameron Cooper, and Marin Kello, who are all involved in this battle right now. There is Calvin alongside Cameron Cooper, and Cameron Cooper actually getting the position as Calvin is given a penalty for ignoring yellow flags. He is on hard tyres though, so we can make it to the end, and hopefully we can get that penalty removed once the checkered flag has come through.
It's still saying on our timing screen there's yellow flags in sector 1, 2, and 3, so unless people are perhaps getting... someone says they can't overtake. I think there might be an issue here, actually.
Yeah, it seems like there might be an issue here, and that has been the umpteenth time I've said that here today. Oh, green! The track is now green. The yellow flags are gone. Just a lap later than they should have been. Hopefully, that means we can fully get racing underway now. Jan Thaler and Neon are already building a gap to KX Ricardo, because KX Ricardo is stuck there behind the semi-real car, ethereal car of Connor Eddy. But nevertheless, a big gap being formed out at the very front by Jan Thaler and Neon. And that is exactly what they need to do to try and deal with the hard tyre runners further down the order. As I think Mahavir might be having a go at Cameron Cooper further behind over 6th and 7th right now. In fact, I think that was Cameron getting past Mahavir. There was a car off the road there, and all sorts of action going on between the Alpha Tauris as Mahavir loses another position to his stand-in teammate, or rather he is the stand-in, his teammate, Sink Calvin, who now is already getting up the inside of Cameron Cooper as well. Those hard tyres coming online quickly for the Dutchman in the Alpha Tauri.
Well, the hard tyres are...
Oh dear, Cameron Cooper way too late onto the brakes into the side. Who's that is collected there? Is that his teammate? I think Connor Eddy. I don't know if that's the real Connor Eddy or not, but that was collision between the two Mercedes. There was carbon fiber everywhere. I think someone else also lost elements of their front wing, and we have a virtual safety car. So the racing is delayed once more.
And, well, this is particularly interesting now. Connor Eddy's going to come under a little bit of fire for that. You have to feel it. He has been asked by the... Oh, he's disconnected apparently. He's not in the game. So that wasn't his fault at all.
Yeah, apparently he is no longer in the session, so that is just the desynchronized AI version of his car that's out there. And he wasn't causing any issues, to be fair. He just drove straight into his teammate who was backwards, so I think the issue was made. He causes the virtual safety car has now ended, and it looks like Christian Sender was able to get past Riptide. DRS enabled, and now we could see some real progression, maybe out at the front as well, between Neon and Jan Thaler. Marin Kello's into the pits off of his medium tyres. He's going on to hards to the end, you'd have to imagine, from this stage. That's an early call there from the Haas driver. Maybe he picked up front wing damage in that incident with Cameron Cooper and the Alpha Tauri of Calvin. And I got to say, that did look at first glance like it was a bit over-optimistic from Cam.
Those hard tyres could probably make it all the way to Hungary in a week's time, so I don't think there'll be any issues there getting those to the end of this race. They're very, very durable tyres indeed. And, well, here's Neon still trying to make moves on Jan Thaler ahead. Jan Thaler, of course, being second in the championship, and this would be a very good, well,
Oh,
point.
no! Oh, it's gone wrong again. Calvin involved in another incident, and another one where I got to say it didn't necessarily look like his fault, as he and Jane Tripkov seemed to get glued together there. And into the wall they both went. Jane suffered minor wing damage, a huge amount of wing damage for Calvin, and I think maybe there might be some issues with people passing him under virtual safety car here, because Mahavir seemed to want to let him back through, but Calvin has zero front wing left on that car, so he's going to have to be heading back into the pit lane again, and that is a disaster for our pole sitter, and his chances of a podium are well and truly out the window. And of course, it is another virtual safety car. Ricardo is the next one to pit. KX Ricardo pits from what was third position in this race to get rid of his soft tyres. Jane Tripkov into the pit lane as well. There you see Calvin heading in with Zay just behind. And the virtual safety car has ended at the wrong time for these guys. And they are not going to get the half-price pit stops they were looking for. But it's Jan Thaler and Neon who have had a very calm time, very cool and collected out at the front. They've had no issues to worry about.
Well, it's exactly what you want from a driver at the front. They've managed to handle all the controversies perfectly. This is Mahir Raghunathan in a very lofty fourth position. Of course, he's won a couple of real-life championships, but not quite been to such heights in Formula X racing, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed, I can't remember his best result back in Season 1. I can't remember, I don't think he ever managed to podium, but he often managed some pretty decent point scoring finishes from what I recall. But Jan Thaler leads the way from Neon, 2.5 tenths between the two of them. Then 3 seconds to Luka Witovic in third. Then another 7 seconds to Mahavir. And then a further 3.5 to Labrax. And that's when you get to the hard tyre runners. Christian Sendel, by the way, seems to have fallen behind both Williamses somehow in the melee here. And Jan Thaler dives into the pits. These guys have built up a pretty significant margin to the hard tyre runners. And they might have done enough for Jan Thaler to be in with a shout of being able to beat his teammate and taking the race win here, as he will be on medium tyres to the end of the race, while everyone else pretty much is going to be on those hards. KX Ricardo went on to mediums a lap ago, as did Zay and Cameron Cooper. But Jan Thaler is going to be coming out ahead of any of them.
Believe it or not, we're not too far off the halfway mark in this race, and Jan Thaler has made a completely scheduled pit stop. We said lap 9 was when the undercuts opened, and sure enough, he's gone for lap 9. He's out into traffic, though. He's going to have to clear this Haas car ahead quite quickly of Zola. And I don't think the Haas driver will be too compliant with that course.
Yeah, he might well not really have much of a say in it, though, to be fair. Jan is already alongside him, and it looks like he's going to be making the move into De La Roggia behind. And in fact, he's already got it done. So Jan Fehler dispatches Zola with efficiency there as he moves himself up into 10th. Now it's 6.3 seconds up to the train of cars who pitted after the first lap ended under safety car conditions to go onto hard tyres. And in amongst that train of cars is his teammate Christian Sendel. So Jan Fehler is already scything into that gap. It's 5.7 seconds, and he's got plenty of time left to continue eating into that. So Jan is in an absolute golden position to potentially win this race.
That's for certain, and, well,
Oh! Abrax is round in the final corner, and thankfully, everyone seems to have managed to avoid him there. That would have been an absolute Code Brown moment for Sandro Van Sand, who was able to just about drive around the outside of him. Neon, meanwhile, has come into the pits from what was the race lead. He'll be coming out just behind Jan Fehler on another fresh set of medium tyres. Here is Labrax, who has filtered right back in there. And actually, Neon has been able to jump Jan Fehler in the pits there, the overcut being pulled off. And maybe Neon is now the one in pole position to potentially win this race. Jan Fehler will be fighting him all the way, though, as they close up to the likes of Peso, Sandro, Christian Sendel, and Riptide. Sandro losing out to Christian Sendel, by the way, over 4th and 5th, but Christian might have been involved. Oh my god, they're all over the road once again. It's still chaotic down here as Christian is trying to fight off Lars Algera, that is, getting up his inside through Lesmo 1. Christian braked later, braves it around the outside of Lesmo 2, and holds on to 6th. But he was trying to take 4th from Sandro. Something happened, and he found himself losing out to Riptide instead.
Well, that was a brave move around the outside from Christian. I mean, there is a reason that he is the championship leader, and I think that's it. He's on hard tyres, and there will be no sign of him stopping again, which means Neon and Jan Fehler are going to have to get past these guys the hard way, and it means they're also going to have to work with each other, ironically, to get past these people. I doubt that they can get past on their own. They're going to have to do a little bit of teamwork, I imagine.
We'll see how much that grip difference is going to afford them as Mahavir heads into the pits from what was 2nd position. He's going on to a set of mediums to the end of the race. He'll be filtering out in a relatively decent position, and he'll have much faster tyres than pretty much anyone else to the end of this race. So Mahavir might be on for a top 10 finish and a hatful of points for Alpha Tauri in his first race with the team as a reserve driver. He has got 10 seconds to gap between himself and Zola in 11th, but with those fresher, softer tyres, he should be able to make up that difference. Meanwhile, Peso, he's actually being able to build a slight gap to his teammate Sandro just behind him. And I wonder if maybe the Williams cars want to work together here to try and give Peso a little bit of a head start and drive away from this train.
And, well, it's not too far off the window where Luka Utovic could perhaps make his strategy work. If there was a safety car, it would of course mean that he's in a pretty good position for the rest of this race. And I think another person who's in a pretty good position is Pezzo. Of course, he stopped under that first safety car, and if there is a safety car towards the end of the race, that could be the look afforded to him to get a very, very good finish for the Williams team here.
Absolutely, that could be the golden ticket for the likes of Peso and Sandro, because that would put Neon and Jan Fehler in an absolute vice in terms of their decision making. Here comes Neon as he sets the fastest lap of the race and is already getting up alongside his teammate, the first one in this train that he needs to dispatch. We saw them working well together in qualifying, and something tells me that Lars Algera wasn't going to be making that too hard for Neon, who gets up ahead of his teammate and into 6th, and now has Christian Sendel to look at, the man that started only 1 place behind him on the grid. Now Neon is looking at his rear wing with much better tyres and more than half of the race left to go.
And Christian has no business really fighting this, you have to feel.
Riptide off into the gravel there, and that's going to cause an opportunity for Christian Sendel, who wants to go around the outside of Riptide and manages to do so through Lesmo 1. Great capitalization on the mistake there from the McLaren driver. Trouble is, he now doesn't have DRS, and Riptide is slipstreaming him straight back down towards Ascari. Neon is so close in this battle as well. He cannot get alongside, though. Neither of them managed to make move in the end. Christian Sendel lives to fight another day there, and he is just about on the cusp of DRS. He needs to have a good parabolica to make sure that he gets DRS for the next straight, because otherwise he's going to be a sitting duck to the Ferrari and especially to the Alfa Romeo behind. We could be seeing a 3-wide moment down towards turn 1, as I don't think Christian Sendel was able to get DRS.
That was a spectacular move from Christian Sendel. I'm afraid it's going to be in vain by the looks of things. He hasn't got DRS heading down this straight, and despite the fact that Neon has got past, I think it's actually him getting past there of the Ferrari, is going to give... Oh no, they've touched! And I think he's just managed to keep it. And that was a very scary moment for the net race leader. Pretty much on pit stop strategy. Well, Christian is allowed time to breathe for now, but I don't think it's going to be too long before he has to look in his mirrors once again.
Yeah, Riptide is not an easy man to pass in that Ferrari. But Neon was able to navigate the danger just about. Meanwhile, Jan Fehler still hasn't made an impression on this DRS train, and he needs to start doing that if he wants to make sure that he's going to keep Neon within arm's reach. Christian Sendel, meanwhile, was able to just absolutely floor the overtake mode and build a gap to the cars behind. Here are Lars Algera and Riptide maybe thinking about getting together into Ascari. And you can see Jan Fehler's right on the rear end of that battle as well. And he'll want to make sure that he doesn't get involved too heartily. If those guys come together, Jan needs to be able to avoid it and keep his nose clean. And Christian Sendel, meanwhile, is getting really close to the back of Sandra Van Sand. And there you see Riptide getting passed around the outside by Lars Algera into Parabolica. So Riptide starting to fall backwards a little bit right now on his 9-lap-old hard tyres. And there is Jan Fehler getting past him on the run down towards turn 1 as well.
Sitting duck without the DRS and the tyre advantage, really proving there. Oh, that was pretty close.
For a second, I thought I saw the nose of that Ferrari entering the rear end of the McLaren, but thankfully that has not happened, and that was the reason I made my exclamation there. But as it happened, I was worrying about nothing. Jan Fehler's all right, and now he should be able to get past Lars Algera with ease because Lars has fallen outside of DRS range of his teammate up ahead. Further down, Jarno Tripko's been able to get past Maranello. They're battling over 13th and 14th right now, but there's a lot of action going on up here towards the front.
This is what you want to see from Monza, a mishmash of pit stop strategies, meaning that the drivers are going to have to overtake. It's something we don't see often in Formula 1 now. You're having to clear a field of cars, but it is absolutely wonderful to watch. Jan Fehler is really going to have to struggle past this Alfa Romeo, and the downside is he hasn't got a massive tyre advantage. He's got the laps and the tyre age, but the tyre compound is actually the same, and the medium tyres are quite durable. We're not quite into the window where you'd want to change them at this stage if you were that Alfa Romeo, so he is going to have to get past, and it's going to be a few laps before those tyres start to really die.
He is going to have DRS, and he's close enough here, though. I think he should be able to get past Lars Algera down into turn 1. Lars will want to make it as difficult as possible, but unfortunately he cannot stay alongside in the braking zone, so he will not be able to hold up Jan Fehler any further. Since Neon got up to the rear end of Christian Sendel, he has not been able to get past the McLaren driver at any point. So that is giving an opportunity for Jan Fehler, and now it is Jan's teammate who is doing the hold-up job here and allowing the second McLaren to close up to the rear wing of the other guy on the medium tyres, the other guy who's fast right now, Neon and Jan Fehler, the two who should be the fastest two cars on track. Luka Witovic is doing a great job out there in the lead of the race. He has kept the gap pretty stable to Peso, even on those aging medium tyres. And let's not forget, he's going to be onto softs for the end stint of this race, so he could well be a factor as well as the laps continue to move on.
A couple of laps before the race leader comes into the pits to boxes, Lars Alger has got a time penalty of 3 seconds for multiple warnings. That's track limit violation, as per usual you see really in these leagues. And Sandro's got 15 seconds worth of time penalties, so they're going to be quite keen to get him out of the way, is Christian, and I think Neon behind as well. If they get past Sandro, they can really start making moves on Peso ahead, who hasn't got time penalties. I think this is going to be the move heading down into turn 1. He's not quite able to find the place, but he's going to go around the outside, just being blocked off a little bit by Peso there. That was intelligent driving from both of the Williams guys, and that's just going to quell the attack for the time being.
Yeah, well, that brought him to the pits again. So that's his second time. He pitted for hards early on, and now he's had to pit again. We saw him having a moment earlier where he was sideways through Parabolica, so he might have eaten up the tyres rather more than he would have liked, and he's going to go on to softs to the end of this race. It is only lap 16, so those softs are going to have to go a fair way. They should be able to manage it without too much issue. And yeah, Sandro's penalties, I'm not sure. I think those are comprised of 5-second penalties, caused by issues with the game. So I think there's a possibility he'll be able to get all those penalties removed. I'd be surprised if he's picked up 5 3-second time penalties already.
I would be surprised, but with the drama at the start of the race, it isn't something that's too out of the question. There could have been genuine violations there where he's actually collided with another car, but I think they'd definitely be looked at by the race director. We saw Monaco in Division 1 was decided in the end for the McLaren driver. Quite weirdly, actually, all the McLaren drivers doing very well throughout the 3 tiers of Formula X racing, but that was decided post-race on time penalties. It's one of the bugbears you have with this game. You can never be quite certain if there's time penalties at play, whether someone's actually...
Yeah, Luca has now come into the pits. He is going on to soft tyres as well, just like his teammate Labrax did a lap ago. And we'll see what Luca can do now, because he has KX Ricardo up the road from him, but he's on older, harder tyres. Riptide also on older, harder tyres. Everyone in the field is on older or harder or both tyres than Luka Witovic right now. And here comes Neon, trying to defend from Jan Fehler, interestingly enough. So the charge of Neon, the charge of the Dutchman, has faltered a little bit here in the rear wing of Christian Sendel, and that's giving Jan Fehler a bit of an opportunity to regain the position he lost in the pit stops to Neon, the man in his second Premier X race. But
Eddie's AI is in the lead group. This could get very, very interesting very, very quickly. And, well, I think there'd be some pretty big controversies if this actually affected the lead battle, but I could definitely see it happen as Christian still holding that position 3, and his tyres are going to be starting to scream. He's only on 14 laps on them so far, but give him another 5 laps or so, and those medium tyres, those hard tyres aren't going to feel particularly nice for the second place in the championship. First place in the championship, sorry.
Jane Tripko picking up a 3-second time penalty, currently running down in 12th position, as these guys are still playing nice out here at the moment. The thing is, with the Williams guys, hold all the cards right now, because Peso is leading the way. He's the only one without DRS, but as long as Sandro stays behind him, refuses to overtake his teammate, but maintains that DRS train situation, there's nothing that the guys behind can do, or rather, it's very difficult for the guys behind to be able to do anything to get past Sandro, let alone past Peso. So if the Williams guys manage this race perfectly, we could be seeing a Williams 1-2 once we get to the checkered flag. That would be a first race win in Premier X for either of those drivers. Peso has definitely looked the most likely throughout Season 2, the second half of Season 2, and now Season 3. And it would be a fantastic result. He sits third in the championship. I don't think it would be enough to catapult him into championship contention, but it would really solidify his grip on third.
Well, with 3 rounds left after this would be more important for the Constructors' Championship. Williams currently sit in 5th position. They're only, well, they're less than 20 points behind Ferrari. And, well, that 4th position could be hotly contested in the back end of this season. And a 1-2 finish for the Williams team would be quite impressive indeed for that points tally. And, well, I don't think the McLarens are going to let that die down too easily. He thinks about a move, does Neon, but has to just back out of it. The room wasn't quite there with the train ahead.
Here's Riptide. He has Luka Witovic just having got past him there. And they're both passing Calvin's car, which I'm pretty sure is AI controlled at this stage. I'm not 100% sure about that. Lars Algera has just come out of the pits onto a set of soft tyres. He's running it down in 13th. His teammate is rather having a better time of it in this race, and Lars will be thinking that maybe he should have gone for hard tyres when he pitted on the opening lap rather than those mediums. He was always planning to 2-stop from that point onwards, and I don't think that was the right strategy call from his perspective. Here is his teammate, though, Neon, who's getting a really nice tow off of Christian Sendel down towards Ascari. Not enough to make the move, but he maybe is forcing Christian to use a little bit more of his ERS percentage and building up an ERS advantage. That's going to be the only way you can make a difference when you're in this DRS train. You can see about 20% in Neon's favor. Sandro, in particular, is running very, very low on ERS. So if these guys are going to be able to get past him, that is going to be how they do it.
ERS, of course, giving a little bit of boost from an electric motor. It's not too different to the KERS system.
Here we go. Sandro is pretty much bone dry on the battery right now, and that might give the opportunity for Christian Sendel, who forces his way through the inside of turn 2, will force Sandro to give him the space. Sandro runs out of road on the exit and loses out not only to Christian Sendel, but to Neon behind as well. And this could be the golden opportunity for Neon, who tries to go around the outside of Curva Grande. They bang wheels. Christian and Neon down towards Della Roggia. It's going to be Neon on the inside, and the Alfa Romeo is through and ahead. There's contact as he tried to cut off the McLaren on the exit of the corner. And now Jan Fehler's getting past both Sandro and his teammate Christian Sendel all at once. That's Christmas coming early for Jan Fehler there, and the battle between Christian and Sandro will continue further behind. There was a flick of front wing, and that's Christian Sendel maybe into the wall. He just about holds the car, and Luka Witovic coming through as well. I don't know if he picked up front wing damage in the Renault or not, but he did make contact with Sandro there, and hopefully for Luka's sake, he's managed to avoid front wing damage. No, he hasn't. The front left end plate is missing for Luka, and that is such a shame on what could have been an excellent charge onto the podium, and maybe even for the win of this race. He still has the best tyres. It's still possible for him right now. And now Christian Sendel is once again having a move on Sandro. These guys will not be too happy with each other. With the front wing damage that Sandro has, Christian will be able to make that move stick.
I was about to comment on how I'm guessing something
Into the
there.
pit, yeah.
I was about to comment on how impressive it was that they were able to go 3 wide and still come away with something. But now it's all on Peso. 1 second that gap. He's broken DRS, and now he's got 7 laps to make it work. Can he do it?
Yeah, and there's been a lot of time that both Neon and Jan Fehler have spent behind other cars on those medium tyres, fighting with other cars, and they're not necessarily giving the huge advantage over the hards they might once have been. As, yeah, that's Christian, Sandro and Riptide, who all headed into the pits then to get rid of front wing damage and to go on to softs to the end of the race. And I wonder if that's the right decision from Christian Sendel here, because he needs to make sure this is damage limitation this race now between himself and Jan Fehler. And if he managed to tootle around, finish in 6th or 7th with that front wing damage, he's going to get more points than surely whatever he can do now that he has pitted a whole nother time on the softs. Maybe he'll be able to make it work, but even if he gets past Zay, there's another 7 seconds before he gets to the likes of Labrax and Lars Algera. And those guys are on relatively fresh soft tyres themselves, so they're not going to be easy meat for Christian Sendel once he catches up to them. Sandro and Riptide, of course, going the same way as Christian on that decision, so they evidently feel like it was the right one, and Christian has already dispatched Zay for 12.
Well, I think for Christian, the way he sees it, he's got a pretty hefty gap in the championship, and it makes sense why he'd want to take the more conservative strategy and just kind of pit, be safe, make sure you get to the end, and perhaps go for that fastest lap towards the end of the race. And whilst you'll probably pick up less points than you would, it would be far less risky. The gap in the championship stands at around 55 points, so it's not like he's going to be particularly contested by Jan Fehler at this stage in the championship, but so I'm sure the conservative strategy will make sense in the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, if things finish as they currently are, we're talking roughly a 20-point swing in favour of Jan Fehler. Jan will be scoring, I believe it's 32 points for 3rd position, unless I'm very much mistaken. Luka picking up a 3-second time penalty, trying to make that car work with the front wing damage he has, and unfortunately he has been falling away from the front 3, and that could have been a fantastic first podium in Premier X for him. And nevertheless, it's a very encouraging result as long as he manages to hold on to this P4, and some big points coming his and Renault's way. And if he's planning on continuing on into Season 4 with the arrival of F1 2020, then maybe this will be a positive way to end out, or the beginning of a positive end to this Season 3 of Premier X. But Peso is still looking relatively comfortable out at the front. I'd love to check the ERS situation between these front 3 right now. Peso 25%, going up to 37 in the braking zone there. Neon about 10% above him, so has somewhat of an advantage. And Jan Fehler a further 10% above Neon. So the advantage continues as you go further back, but it's not a huge deficit. And unless Peso is forced to expend significantly more of his battery charge over the next couple of laps, he is still in a relatively solid spot to defend from Neon and Jan Fehler.
And I do apologise that I completely forgot that the Premier Division has a special points scoring system. That's completely my bad. But here we are then, with about 5 laps to go in this race. And you're looking at Mahiva Raghunathan, our resident real-life racing driver here. And I am assured it is actually Mahiva Raghunathan. And he's got a good points all here in position 8 for the Avatari team. His teammates not particularly in lofty heights down in P17. So I think he'll be pretty pleased with this result. He's not going to have an easy run to the line though. He's got a hungry Renault and a hungry Racing Point behind him. This is the battle for the lead. Any one of 3 could win this race. It's been a difficult drive through the field for Neon. His strategy has worked out quite perfectly, but not quite. Well, he's got to make some moves yet, and I do apologise. It's Mahiv, not Mahiva.
Would be the pronunciation. As Mahavir loses out to Yane Tripkov, they're out on the road. That's Yane being able to get past him, but Mahavir has a big advantage on almost all the cars around him in as much as he does not have any time penalties. So he might well inherit that position back from Yane Tripkov, and he might not have to worry too much about Labrax, who's steaming up behind him on a relatively fresh set of soft tyres. Look at the front, though. Look how close the battling is between the 3 of them there. Peso just about clinging on to P1 for now, but I don't imagine he's got the grip very firmly on that first position in this race. Neon is all over him right now, thinking about a move into Parabolica. Jan thinking about a move in turn, and they just go back into single file on the entry to Parabolica now, as they're heading down towards the first corner once again. The DRS will open, and Peso has nothing left to defend with by the look of things as Neon breezes past him, but Jan Fehler might be interested in following him through. Indeed, he will do so, but he's not going to send it up the inside of Neon. And this is not the situation Neon would have wanted, because there's still a couple of laps left to go, 3 laps left to go in this race. And with the advantage that the DRS and the slipstream affords you at this circuit, Jan Fehler might well be in prime position right now. Neon cannot really dictate when Jan Fehler goes for the move on him. And if Jan Fehler is able to build up enough ERS, he can surely play Neon like a fiddle here.
That's for certain. And, well, I think it's definitely in the hands of Jan right now. And, well, I think Neon might just have the pace for him. But we'll have to see. That DRS can be very, very powerful. They've got 3 laps to go. It's an absolute sprint to the finish now. No more safety cars, no more virtual safety cars. It will stay green till the end of this race.
No.
Apparently his AI is driving.
Neon leading the way. I'm not sure exactly who that refers to there, but Neon leading the way from Jan Fehler, then Peso in third, who's just starting to fall slightly adrift of these guys now that his tyres really are getting very second-hand. But another podium to add, that would be his 3rd of the season for Peso, and I don't think he would complain about it too much. It would be Neon's 2nd of the season. Jan Fehler, I don't know how many he's had in terms of podiums. If he manages to claim the win, it would be his 4th, and that would move him level on wins with his teammate, 4 apiece for the McLarens. It would be at the end of round 9, and that tells you a little something about how this season has been going. But we will see. Neon leading from Jan Fehler. It's about half a second. Jan isn't exactly climbing all over the gearbox. He's not giving Neon a lot of trouble, as we are now halfway through the penultimate lap of this race, and you can see that Neon is actually in a really good position with his ERS. Jan is about 20% down on Neon. He does have the advantage of the DRS, of course, but that might not be enough if you are in that electrical deficit in terms of your battery charge.
Well, that's you can really regenerate quite a lot around this racetrack, and if you do a little bit of saving as well, you can kind of get away with such a deficit. It's only really that these drivers have to worry when they're down into the sort of 15% as he is now, and he's gaining a lot. This is actually going to be a bit of a double-edged sword. He's got the position into the corner, but he's going to get the extra dirty air heading down the straight. I don't quite think this is going to work out for Jan Fehler, as he's going to head onto the final lap of the race. So this, you'd argue, is he's out of ERS completely, I believe, or he's got very little of it. That's for certain, and I don't think he's quite going to have enough into turn 1. He's going to brake as late as possible. It's not quite going to work for him so far.
Yeah, Neon seems to have got this one bought and paid for now. Meanwhile, here's Christian Sendel onto the rear wing of Labrax. This is the recovery drive for Christian Sendel. He'll move himself back up into 8th. And then you've got a bit of a gap, 3 seconds worth to Lars Algera. But I seem to remember that Lars has a couple of penalties to his name, so it's possible. In fact, very likely, I think that Christian, 9 seconds of penalties for Lars, 15 for Zola Zola. So Christian's going to gain a couple more positions, and he is really going to be limiting the damage. Maybe the decision to come onto the softs has paid off for him, as he has been able to cut his way back up through the field. And out at the front, it seems like Jan Fehler has nothing left to offer in the battle with Neon. You can see he's down there in the single digits in terms of his battery charge before that braking zone. 1 second between the two of them. Neon has just managed this race to perfection in the end. Jan Fehler fought him all the way, and they had to deal with a very stubborn Peso in the lead of this race. But in the end, Neon, in his second race in Premier X, the Dutchman manages to claim victory in Italy.
What a spectacular Italian Grand Prix. It wasn't without its controversies, and there's going to be a few things that the stewards have to look at over the weekend. But as you can see, Peso picking up an important P3 for Williams in the Constructors' Championship, and crucially, that's going to give them, I believe, the majority of the points they need on Ferrari.
We'll see about that. There could well be some changes in the championship standings as a result of this. There's Jane Tripkov jumping up to 8th. Great result for Racing Point. KX Ricardo really had a very solid one to come 5th here. I didn't get a chance to talk about it much. There was so much going on at the front. Here are the two Ferraris at their home race. Zay and Riptide running to the line for the Tifosi, putting on a bit of a show in the final corner, but both of them will be finishing down in 13th and 14th. Zay just leading his Swedish teammate home. There is Sandro's AI car, I believe, driving across the line for 15th. Cameron Cooper will be 16th. Calvin and Connor Eddy also not in control of their cars. So I think we can discount the bottom few finishers in this race. But Neon taking the win over Jan Fehler. Fantastic performance. They made the right call with that first safety car. They didn't come in for hard tyres, and it turned out to be exactly the right thing to do.
And as we end the proceedings here, that was a brilliant win for Neon. He showed pace in the early part of qualifying. He didn't have to even set a second lap, as there's your driver of the day, Luka Utovic. And, well, he didn't even have to set a second lap, and he still got to 3rd on the grid. And, well, there he is, prancing out onto the podium. The wonderful Monza podium, and lofts the trophy into the air, at least virtually. And, well, the virtual champagne doesn't quite taste quite as sweet as that in real life, but I'm sure it will mean little to him. And he can celebrate that victory. And I think we will be going to some interviews, will we not?
I think we might actually cut the interviews this weekend. It's been a rather long stream today. I think some of the drivers might be liking to go to bed, as well as our producers. So I think we won't be bringing you any interviews after this one, I'm sorry to say. But congratulations, nevertheless, to our front three, our podium sitters, Neon, Jan Fehler, and Peso. Big results for all of them. Christian Sendel recovering well to 6th, pending penalty removals from a couple of other drivers. So that is a good job of damage limitation for the German. He has lost points. He has lost ground in the championship to his teammate, but it's still a very manageable gap. With 3 races left to go, Jan Fehler will need a couple more races like this if he wants to overturn that margin, but he has done the right thing. He's got a good start to it. Luka Witovic as well as KX Ricardo, both with fantastic results, 4th and 5th from them. And then Labrax, solid as ever in the top 10 in 7th. Jane Tripkov having a much better second half of the season in 8th. Mahavira Gunathan managing 9th position. Congratulations to him. And Marankello rounding out that top 10. And that's one of his better results of the season as well. I want to thank you guys all very, very much for watching and for your patience while we got everything sorted today with all the lobby issues. And I want to thank the drivers as well for having patience with everything that was going on and still managing to bring us a fantastic show. That'll be it from us for tonight. So thank you, and we'll be back here next Friday. And good night for now.
Good night.